Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the Louis Sports Network, man. It is your boy Louis, and I'm back once again with another one, back with another live stream banger with yet another video. And in this live stream, as you see, we are talking about Mermaid Man against Barnacle Boy. Mermaid Man versus Barnacle Boy, or should I say David Stern going up against Adam Silver. So, once again, guys, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button as you guys come in. Again, it is your boy Lewis with another one. Let me know who is in the chat. And as always, Layla, always doing it, comes all right in. She says, smash that like, hitting the subscribe as soon as you come in. David Stern was the best. She says, RIP. She also says she's got the first like, which just lets you know that she was first in the building. So I appreciate that. So she gives the first person to come in. All right. Shout out to Michelle's daughter who says, can't stay long, just saying hi. No problem, Layla. No problem, Michelle's daughter. But I appreciate you as always coming through, and she's showing much love to her girl Layla, man. As like I said, we're all family here on the channel. And I also left in here. I left the StreamYard. I left the invite if anybody wants to come in. If anybody wants to jump on in and we talk about this. So again, make sure you guys continue to subscribe. Make sure you guys continue to like the video as you guys come in. We're talking about David Stern against Adam Silver. Who, in your opinion, was the better commissioner? I know with Adam Silver, it's difficult because he's just only been here for 5 years in terms of he's now the head commissioner, but he has been under David Stern for quite a long time and pretty much learning the ropes, being the commissioner of the NBA. And he's gotten the opportunity right now. I just want to see more people coming in as we are getting started. So let me just see who is in the building. How's everybody's Saturday going? Hope you guys are staying safe from the COVID. So make sure you guys are safe. Make sure everything is going well. Hope everything is going good with you guys. Let me know who's in the chat, man. Who's in the building, man. Just going to want to wait for some people to come in. Again, continue to smash the like. Continue to smash the like and hit that subscribe. Let's see who is in here. I know that was kind of the voiceover, but that's because I kind of put that on YouTube as well. So let me just know who's in here, man. Let's hopefully we can get some more people in here. So ladies and gentlemen, remember, following this, I am doing a wrestling live stream where we're talking about the Monday Night Wars between WWE and WCW. And I think that's going to be a very interesting one. And that's going to be very interesting. So make sure you guys come on back for that one. I think it's going to be a very nice live stream. We're talking about wrestling and we're talking about something that made you tune in as a wrestling fan. But I want to see who else is in the chat. Hopefully more people come on in because I think it's a nice topic. We could talk about how the NBA was back then compared to now what it is today and what it's going to be in the future. Still, we got 2 likes and we got 1 person watching, man. Where are you guys at today on this Saturday, man? Let's get more people up in here, man. Shout out to Maddox Mac. He says Adam Silver easily. Again, guys, make sure you guys smash that like button and hit the subscribe. And like I said, I also left. You don't have to, but if you guys would like, you can donate to the PayPal if you have. I also have Cash App if you guys would like to donate via Cash App as well. Continue to smash the like button and hit the subscribe. Also, I have right here, I have the StreamYard as well. If you want to come on in and you want to pretty much chat, like I said, I put right here, I put it in the chat. So if you guys want to come in, make sure you guys come in the StreamYard, man, and I will not only give you a shout out, obviously, for coming in as a guest, but we can talk about David Stern and Adam Silver. Wow, look at that, man. Shout out to the man, man. This is great. Give me 1 second, man. Shout out to the main man. The main man, as always, man. The partner in crime, man. The man who's always doing his thing on his lives and just came from the bake shop from this morning, cooking up those turnovers. Just playing, man. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, man, my main man, DJG, D the Godfather Jefferson, man. How is it going with you, my brother? How on Saturday, bro?
What's up, fam? Man, put a couple of lives up and just came off a live damaging somebody on this doggone boxing talk, bro. You know how I do. I had to body him up. I seen you went live, so I said, "Look, man, I'm done with you."
Oh man, oh man, that's cool. That's what's up, man. So you put on 2 lives today?
Well, I put on a short one, then I threw. Remember, I did that one this morning when I was at the bakery.
No, yeah, that one I know.
Right, and then I did another long live. We talked boxing, had
Mm-hmm.
to match a couple of dudes up. Then I was just on El Jefe live and had to mash another guy up. You know, man, Thanos on the job, bro. I don't lose debates. That's what I do.
Yeah, man. No, some of these guys be trying, man, for some reason, man. And it's like you know what you're watching, and it's like you constantly are studying the film, and you're studying these boxers. So it's like, when I listen to D, man, and I need to listen to boxing, man, I listen to you because it's like I know what you're gonna get. And the thing is, you're very objective about the sport of boxing. You're not biased, and it's like you could break down things from different perspectives. So it's like some of these guys who talk about boxing, it's like you could clearly when you hear them talk, it's like you know that they're for a certain boxer. Like I said, it's cool to be a fan of a boxer, but it's like if you're gonna talk boxing, man, you gotta talk the in and outs of it, man.
You
So
got
not
to
only
be
do you got
boxing first, bro.
exactly.
Got to be boxing first, boxing second. I mean, if your guy is doing bad, if he showed flaws, if he needs to improve, you got to be willing to admit that. You can't be blind about it. And I mean, it's that way in any sport. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? If it's basketball, football, baseball, if your team is struggling, your bench needs help, you got to step up and admit that, bro. You got to put the sport first and the teams and athletes second.
Yeah, no question. All right, man. So D, welcome to the panel as always. And if you guys, make sure to subscribe to Speaking My Sports Talk as well. And you know, also make sure to subscribe right here to the Lewis Sports Network, man, as we obviously deliver in our personal opinion. I mean, there's a lot of great YouTubers out there, but we're doing some things that probably not other YouTubers are probably doing, man. So we give you that content. We want your voices to be heard. Anybody wants to jump on this again, the link is in the chat. So D, gotta ask you this question, man. We're talking about Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy from SpongeBob SquarePants, aka David Stern and Adam Silver. Which guy for you has made the best impact in the NBA? David Stern, or are we talking about Adam Silver? So go ahead, you can run with that one.
Well, right now, at this point, I will have to go with Adam Silver hands down. And I mean, I'm sorry, David Stern hands down. My bad, because
That's good.
Adam Silver need a little more time. I mean, he's done some good things. It was bold when he allowed the whole thing to go down with the Warriors, but he did well because he said he made a really powerful statement back then. He said, "This is going to force other teams to get better," and he ended up being right about that. And it made the league more exciting because it did force other teams to make moves and get better. So that was a positive there, And for the fans and the excitement, I mean, guys that love the old school basketball, the strong defense, a lot of us may not appreciate how they loosened up the offense, but I mean, let's be honest about it. It makes the game a little more exciting, that playoff that we had last season. So he gets credit for things like that. But Stern, he did so much for the game. And you know what I mean? Let's give Silver some time to catch up and see what he does. You know what I mean? It's almost like the Luka Doncic craze right now. Like we can't say that Luka Doncic is going to be the greatest thing smoking. We got to give him some time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say Stern. I would probably say Stern for now. I mean, see what Silver does in a few years. I think he did a good job of shutting down the NBA through this COVID situation.
Mm-hmm.
That was a tough decision to make, and if you think about it, he was the catalyst for all sports because the NBA led the charge in that. So that was a good move by him.
That's right, no question about it. So, I mean, in my point, um, quite honestly, this is a no-brainer for me. I mean, with Adam Silver, obviously he needs a lot of time, but David Stern for me was the better commissioner because of the fact that there were a lot of things that happened pretty much in his tenure as commissioner when he served 30 years. For those who don't know, he started as commissioner in 1984, right before they went to the. This was the year before that they started with the first ever NBA draft in 1985, which we have to give him a lot of credit for. And this is one of the things that they were saying that hopefully Adam Silver did not ruin or try to tinker with, knowing that he was going to be the new commissioner. But he did learn a lot under David Stern, and he was pretty much his protege and was probably with him all the way for most of his time while he was working right under David Stern. And David Stern gets a lot of credit for the fact that I thought that the way he marketed players, the way he was able to market the stars of the league, was probably one of the best things ever. And then obviously when you look at Jordan, obviously everybody knows what Michael Jordan meant to the sport and what he meant to Nike. But it was like what David Stern was able to do in terms of marketing him in terms of the game. Obviously with ratings and viewership and sponsors, and like he marketed the players so well. When you look at what he was able to do with the Dream Team and being able to work with FIBA basketball, getting the NBA players being able to play internationally, which was not allowed before under the old rules of Olympic play. It was always the college athletes that were participating in Olympic games. Before that, they allowed NBA players to be able to compete. And you look at how he was able to market also the All-Star games when we saw all those great players and had people pretty much appreciate, what the NBA is today, the ability to increase the revenue of these franchises, free agency, players having the ability to go where they need to go, where they want to go, and they have that right to go. So David Stern, when it comes to the way he's marketed the game and the players, being able to go international with the game, going global, when you look at that type of impact, David Stern was pretty much the blueprint for what Adam Silver is continuing right now. And I have to say that, what's up, Alex? Shout out to Alex Sports. He said, what's up? How you doing? I'm doing great, man. How's everything with you? I just saw your last video with the Giants, and make sure y'all go follow Alex Sports. He does a lot of great content. He's a Brooklyn Nets fan. And he also likes to, he also does some other sports as well. He does football, watches football. He's also a Giants fan. So he does a lot of New York teams, but he produces great content. So whenever he has to do the games, so make sure you guys go check that guy out. But yeah, like with Adam Silver, like I give him a lot of respect in terms of like, I thought the crazy part about this, D, and I know you remember this. I know you remember when Donald Sterling, he owned the Clippers, and we know about his racist history towards black players. And Adam Silver came right in and was able to get him out and force him to sell the team, because I know Donald Sterling was going to try to go through a lawsuit to try to sue the NBA if he was somehow going to be successful. But fortunately, he was able to sell the team, especially when there was a lot of pretty much evidence of how racist he was being to NBA players. And to me, the only thing I'm saying about Adam Silver, I know that he's only been a commissioner for like about 5 or 6 years, but I feel like for me, he's trying to do like a little too much, in terms of like, I know he's got his brand, he's got his branding, all over. I know they're doing a lot of sponsorships. I will say that though, at least he does appeal to the fans in terms of how to make the game exciting, in terms of how do we have today's NBA. So I do get that. That's understandable. If there's one thing I do want him to do though, and I really like him for this, and I like the way he's responding to the COV situation, being active. But I got to say this, man, if he could find a way to get James Dolan to sell the team, I'll really love Adam Silver for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, bro. Hey, look, like I said, bro, you're talking about 30 years, and he did a lot in those 30 years. And just like you said, when you went back to, uh, the Olympic Games and the FIBA Games and that sort of thing, but he helped globalize the sport. That dream team, uh, that put basketball. These international countries were embarrassed. So, indirectly, he has a lot to do with globalizing the sport. And that's huge. That's huge in itself, bro. Look at all of the international players we have in the league right now. That stems from a lot of the things that Stern did. Remember, he opened up the league to those international players. We all remember the Detlef Shrimps and the Tony coaches, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So he's done a lot of things that were landmarks in this league, bro. And you know, like you said, bro, I agree with you. Uh, Adam Silver was basically his pupil, so hopefully he'll carry on. I mean, he's implementing good ideas though. Like I said, it takes sports is going to change. That's just the fact. I mean, if you go from era to era to era, things change in sports, and these things have to be. You have to ease these things in so that people are still interested and captivated by the sport. And so he's doing a good job at that. I think it was innovative. Of course, we know that it's a LeBron James thing with the whole captains of the All Star team, but that's an innovative change, and that's something that fans can get used to. That's something that drives in the younger crowd. When you played basketball, when we were younger out in the street, we had captains of the teams, you know what I mean? And it just kind of brings that nostalgia back. So it's cool. Those are innovative things, and it's cool. And if he can keep this type of stuff up, then 10, 15 years down the line, we may be having a different discussion. Um, but as far as now, Stern has just done so much for this league. I mean, all commissioners, Goodell, they have their issues. Okay, so like they're gonna
Hmm.
have their, but Stern has done a great job. He did a great job at going through certain issues. We remember the lockdown. Well, Stern was the one who had to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, look, man, Stern left his mark on this game, and hopefully, Adam Silver can pick up where he left off, and keep the sport that we love alive. I mean, basketball has constantly been on the rise. It's nipping at baseball's heels. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
things are good for basketball, and Silver's doing a good job. He's handled some really important issues well, and just more power to him, bro. I hope he keeps doing well. And like I said, 10, 15 years down the line, we may be having a different opinion. Maybe we consider him the better guy. But as far as right now, I just Stern's done too much.
Yep. That's very true. He has some big shoes to fill, but I think he's going to do a wonderful job. And so I want to open it up, and I'm going to start with this next question. So, some of the NBA players have been donating for compensation of the arena workers for the respected franchises that have been working, who have been, pretty much kind of laid off due to the COVID-19. And my question to you is that why do you feel that some owners have not stepped up to the forefront and helped pay these employees? Because at the end of the day, we have a lot of millionaires and billionaires, and some owners have stepped up. But you have seen some owners in other sports pay for compensation for the arena workers, but we haven't really seen a lot of NBA owners do it yet. And there's rumors that I was hearing from what I was reading in an article that James Dolan may not pay the employees that work in the arena, considering amid the COVID-19, VID-19 virus that's spreading around. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's atrocious. I think it's absolutely atrocious for any of the owners that decide not to find some type of compensation packet for their workers. It's absolutely atrocious, man. I mean, listen, every facet of a big business like the NBA and owning a team. Every facet makes that work. When you get those fans in the stand, from the light conductors to the fucking janitors, bro, it makes that work. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
you have to appreciate your entire team. And I'm not talking about just the players and the coaches. I'm talking about the entire team that supports your fans and those workers and those stadiums and everything else involved with that team. The physical fitness trainers, they have families, bro. And these guys, these owners or groups, they're billionaires. They're billionaires. I mean, it gets to a point where when is enough money enough? If you're a billionaire and you take, $20 million, $10 million and satisfy your staff, come on, bro. You could even write it off, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You can give them all gifts. They can award all of them gifts, and you can actually write that off as a tax write-off. So for no reason, at no level, should they not take care of them. And if they don't, the ones that don't, it's atrocious. That's the way I look at it.
Some really good points you just made, D. I'm gonna say this, man. It's disgusting. Um, it's horrible. There really should be no excuse for this, honestly, because those employees that bust their ass to pretty make sure to help keep the arena running the way that they do, day in and day out, especially during the season times when they're when they're working. Uh, there should be no reason why, or no excuse at all why you should not be paying these employees, especially when they're risking their lives, obviously making the effort to come from their homes to be able to work, because obviously they have to, feed their families and, do pretty much, make a living for themselves. So, and I have to give kudos to Mark Cuban for this, because he was one of the guys that stepped up. This is a billionaire owner we're talking about here. And the first thing he talked about was paying compensation for these employees that work hard, people in the concession stands, people that help put the arena together, to the trainers, to the staff, as you mentioned, D, where we're talking about everybody. And it sucks that some of these owners, you know what's so crazy? I always feel like that the NBA owners are trying to be NFL owners, because of the fact is that you notice that in the NFL, it's not about the players. The owners come first before the players. And I feel like that, and because the NBA is a little bit more player power friendly, to me, they're a little bit upset about that. And I feel like that they're trying to take control. Shout out to Anthony L. He says, "What's good, Lewis and D?" Shout out to you, Anthony L. Appreciate you, man. But I don't like the fact that these NBA owners want to have an NFL thinking where it's like, we want to make this kind of like a slave plantation. Because I kept asking myself, I was looking at Kevin Love was going to donate. Zion Williamson is going to donate. And I said, this is a rookie who's making rookie salary, donating his money to compensate workers. And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, why isn't the Pelicans owner donating? But it's like, I'm hearing Zion first. Or the fact that our New York Knicks have been so much trash. And at least with the people in the arena who at least, do their job. And James Dolan is not thinking about paying the employees. I mean, the same James Dolan that comes out and talks about that if anybody tells him to sell the team, he gets so offended that he'll tell that person that they're no longer welcome to Madison Square Garden and that they'll be watching their games at home or wherever else they're going to watch it. Or you're saying this to a season ticket holder. I mean, look how we treated Charles Oakley and look how we treated Spike Lee recently. Like, you honestly think that I want to go to an arena knowing that that person is about himself and not about the people? Like, it doesn't make it okay at all. And that it's sad that NBA players are really more so forced to pay their salaries. I mean, look, it's a nice gesture and that's great that they're doing that. But it starts with the owners. They're making the big bucks. They should be the first people to be reacting. And it makes me, and shout out to Anthony who says he's blessed. Appreciate that. But it's sad, man. Like you were saying, it's sad. These guys kind of pretty much put themselves before kind of like life in general. Like, just not really being, really not showing sympathy, understanding that they could be doing much better by donating. It doesn't even really hurt. Like even the smallest cost can make a big difference. But it's like with the fact that we have billionaires, they could be giving millions of dollars. It really isn't going to affect them that much because at the end of the day, these guys, I know a lot of these guys, they're in a business, so they'll find a way to invest their money. Like if they can't invest their money or they don't really know how to do it, then they can pretty much lose their money like very quick. But because they have intelligent people around them, I'm saying to myself, there should be no issue in trying to donate money. The NBA players should not be. There's no. I agree that it's cool that they donate, but it's like I just think of a guy like Zion. He's not making really much money on his NBA contract, and he's donating. But yet, I don't really hear the owner of the Pelicans talked about going out to donate. I haven't heard any reports of that. And then I'm hearing that James Dolan possibly might not pay and compensate the workers. Like that. That's just absurd on so many levels. And that just tells me that they put themselves before the other employees. The employees that not only help keep your arena running, but then the NBA players who also help you make money and put people in those seats. Even if the people are paying, your salary, it's like they want to be entertained. Because how is an owner supposed to make money if there's no NBA players and there's no fans? So I keep telling people again, man, this is what you got to think about. And they're thinking like trying to make this into kind of like a slave plantation, and that's not okay. It's not, you know. I find that really ridiculous. So
Yeah, dog, I agree. I agree, man. I mean, the NBA players anyway, like we know that they got a lot of money too. And if it was like the guys like LeBrons and the KDs and okay, yeah, they give up some donations, that's cool. They can write it off too, but they shouldn't even have to, bro. Like it
mhm.
shouldn't even like will come to that. It should be the owners, This is your team. It's just like, okay, my business, my brother and I, the business we had in 2009. You know why that business went under, bro? Well, it was two reasons that business went under. One, it
Uh-huh.
was the recession that we went through with the economy, right? But the
Right.
second reason that business went under was simply because we held on to the last dime because we didn't want to get rid of our guys, bro. They always, they had families to feed. You know what I mean? They had their lives. So we did everything we could really to keep up payroll, to keep the business running, of course, but to keep these guys working. Because the worst thing for my brother and I, we knew that we could start over again. But what it meant for our employees' families. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And why aren't these billionaires looking at that angle when it comes to their staff, bro? Why not? It makes no sense, bro.
It's a good question. It's a good question. What also gets me thinking also is how a lot of these NBA players have been doing, food drives. I still remember the Read to Achieve program that first started back in the 2000 season when before they didn't even do things like that under David Stern's tenure before. And then it's like it's kind of even died down like with Adam Silver. And I noticed that the NBA players are doing kind of like way much more charitable work than some of these NBA owners. Uh, and it's true that we need to hold the owners as accountable as we're going to do the NBA players. Because it's like if NBA players are doing much more community service, I said the owners should be putting themselves in the foot in the door, and they do it because they make money. And it's like now the NBA players have to work that much harder compared to the owners just so that so that they can make a living. And it's honestly, I don't understand why. And that's why I said that players kind of get treated pretty much like slaves when you honestly really think about it. It's like I said before, like none of this Read to Achieve program or any other these things existed. And a part of that reason was to try to create like this, try to create a good image that the NBA was about, or the whole NBA cares for community. Like all of these sponsors and programs, how they work with the Make a Wish Foundation, and you know all of these kind of services, man, NBA borders, just to show. And it's like, I just feel like that everything is always, again, treated as a business. And I get that part of it, man. But it's like we gotta understand that also there's human beings that we're talking about there too. So shout out to Tomoko, who says the spirit of basketball will live when people believe in the players, the team, and the sports. I agree with that.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree.
What's up, Tomoko?
Yeah. And for those who have not checked, man, make sure y'all go. And Tomoko just came out with a new video. I just checked the notification. Tomoko had me check out 2 of her videos. So I pretty much liked and I pretty much commented on those. Yeah, I haven't. Make sure y'all go subscribe to Tomoko. Anthony L also says right here, he says that they always preach about how players need to be role models. Shout out to Jay in the building who just came in. He says they always preach about how players need to be role models and do community service and be involved, but they don't hold their owners to the same standards. Facts. It's like they want the players to do everything, and it's like their bottom line is basically saying, well, you guys have to be doing this because we're pretty much paying you. But it's like all you guys are doing is sitting up in the front office, and pretty much you're watching what's going on, but it's like you guys are really taking no action. Listen, I know Michael is arguably the worst owner in basketball when it comes to drafting and scouting talent. But at the very least, though, even though I haven't heard much about what he's doing in terms of the COVID-19, ID-19, but at the very least recently, though, he's been contributing a lot. He's been contributing a lot to society. I put out a video last year about how he opened up a clinic in North Carolina. Michael has donated a lot as a player and as an owner as well. So, I mean, it's like I got to give Michael a lot of credit for that. I mean, he has a lot of Black entrepreneurs in his Jordan brand too. That's something that people don't talk about. They just bash and criticize him without even really doing their research. And like I said before, like Jordan as a person, he may be the biggest asshole on planet Earth, but at the very least, the bottom line is, what people can't really say if they really understood and really researched what Michael has done. Michael has always contributed, and I got to say that as a player and as an owner, he's done that. Like, I can't say that a lot about NBA owners, with the exception of Mark Cuban, who, like I said, he reacted very quickly, and he came out and said, now some people believe, I don't know if this is true, that he might just be saying that as a publicity stunt, just to say that he's going to do that and then possibly might not do anything. But Mark Cuban, I have seen him be very active. So I got to give him his respect. And I think that there's some owners who do a quick call to action, even general managers, but I can't say the same about the rest of them. People are going to have their opinions, but it's like, you really should be thinking about those employees, man, and like appreciate what they bring, because and this is the definition of a true leader. You're somebody who's inclusive. You bring everybody together and understand what they're doing for your company, for your franchise, for your organization. Like, you truly appreciate. And it's like, it shouldn't have to be a give and receive. You're doing this out of the kindness of your heart because it's a human being type of thing, from what you see. So I think that's a very important lesson that, people need to bring. But that's why I say that the money sometimes can be the root of all evil, man, especially when it's a business. It's crazy how business correlates with so many different things. It's so crazy. Anthony L says, if the owners sign the players' checks, shouldn't they be held at even higher standards since they are already billionaires? What you think about that, D?
Say that again.
Anthony L says, if the owners sign the players' checks, shouldn't they be held to an even higher standard since they are already billionaires?
Right. Damn right, bro. I agree with that 100%. What's up, Jay? Yeah, I agree with that 100%, bro. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we shouldn't depend on the guys with the least amount of money to be the most supportive. It should be the guys with more to spare. Like, who has more to spare? Even when you look at LeBron James, who has more to spare? LeBron James or the owner of the Lakers? Please. LeBron James has money, but he don't have more money than the owners of the Lakers. Like, come on, man. It makes no sense.
And people need to understand something too, man. LeBron is investing to become an NBA owners. So even though he's making millions and he's still rising, he's nowhere near what these NBA owners are. Pretty much most of the owners in the NBA are billionaires. You look at Steve Ballmer, you look at James Dolan, you look at Jeannie Buss, like all of the Joe Lacob, he's a billionaire owner. He's a billionaire owner. Most of these guys in the league are billionaire owners. So,
and if they're not, they're part of an ownership group, and these guys have $500-600 million or $1 billion a piece themselves. And either way, like they're all super rich, bro.
It's just unbelievable, man. So, like, and it goes back to what D. Jefferson is saying, guys. Like, these owners have money to spare. It's like there's a lot of players that have money, but they don't have the level of money that these guys do. So they have many. Just like I said, they have a lot to spare, man. So gotta be cognizant. Shout out to Jay. He says for the vision as a commissioner, it is David Stern. For the players as people, Adam Silver.
Oh,
I actually would have to agree with that because
yeah, that's a good statement, Jay.
David Stern was definitely a visionary, and me and D, we pretty much made those points as to the fact that David Stern pretty much set the blueprint for what the NBA is today. When it comes to, like I said, marketing, when it comes to advertising the playoffs, Olympic play, we talked about the format that he changed in the playoffs. I mean, he made the first round a best of 7 when it used to be a best of 5. Like he's done so many things. I mean, All-Star Weekend, like that's just, it's a lot for people to, those are big shoes to fill for what he did. And like I said, I mean, it's crazy how many celebrities over the years have come to watch basketball and have been huge basketball fans. So yeah, I got to give him a ton of credit. But I also agree with you, Jay, that Adam Silver is he's more player friendly. David Stern didn't play really favorites. Well, he had some people he was more favorites too, like in terms of certain people. But he even tried to be fair, even against the players who he would probably market more than others when he would show favoritism. But Adam Silver, yeah, I would say he's more of a people player type of person, and he's shown that in the 5 years that he's been commissioner. So that's actually a very good statement. I can't lie. I can agree with that. And he says, hey, Louis and D, and shout out to everybody. And like I said, always appreciate Jay, always making great points. Appreciate you, my man. All right, man. So next one. So D, this one is a question about some of the superstars in the league, and I have to mention this one real quick, but because this one's pertaining to Kevin Durant, and the reason I'm pertaining that is because I want to say that. So he was tested positive for the COVID-19. We also know that 2 Laker players also have it, but they have not disclosed the information as to which players particularly have the virus. We know that 3 Sixer players have the virus. We also know that a Denver Nuggets member of the organization has it. We know that Christian Wood has it from the Detroit Pistons, and we know that Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, excuse me, I said Rudy Gay, Rudy Gobert, they were the ones that kind of got this plane rolling starting when they were both discovered with the COVID-19 virus. So my question to you is that if there are star players, and I'm not even talking about role players or even all-star players, if there are star players that are being affected by this virus, do you think that the NBA is going to be shut down? Because I also think that that's kind of the reason that they're not trying to disclose our information, in my opinion, because my hunch is that they're not trying to cancel the season so they could try to get this season in. But what are your thoughts on not only KD having the virus, but potentially other star players having it for this season?
All right, bro. So I'm not going to use too much time, but I'm getting ready to use a little time on this. It's deeper than basketball, bro. Mm-hmm. And I'm not, you know me, Louis. I don't tell any lies. I don't push any narratives or agenda, and I don't sugarcoat anything.
Right.
I think that honestly, guys, when we talk about the Kevin Durant's, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert's, Tom Hanks, even the celebrities that are coming out. Okay, let me say this first. Do you notice that there are some NBA teams that are saying 4 players or 2 players have been tested positive, but they're not giving the names?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. These popular players, the Donovan Mitchell, the Rudy Gobert's, the Kevin Durant's, it's an agenda behind that, people. Okay?
Mm.
They want to vaccinate the public. If
Mm.
you put celebrities in front of the public and say, hey, see, the celebrity got it, now they got the vaccination, and now they're okay. That is influence. That's what it's all about, to influence the people so that you go get that vaccination. So what I want to warn people of is I don't give a damn what you see on the TV. Do not take the vaccination. This whole thing about these players, I'm not even sure, bro, if they even have the COVID-19. This is
Mm.
part of the agenda to get people
Mm.
vaccinated. I'm
Mm.
not going to sugarcoat or lie about this stuff, man. And so I'm doing more research outside of basketball. Louis, you know I'm into a lot of things, power of the mind and everything that's going on. This
Nah.
is it's an agenda behind this. People are influential. We all know that. So if our stars, if our heroes, oh, they got sick, they got it. Yeah, let me go to the hospital real quick. Because I'll give you guys an example. Okay, and this is not anything I'm making up. You guys can all go look this up. It's a report that was put out from the CDC, and the CDC. This was probably a week ago. I read this report, so the numbers could actually be higher. 350 over 350,000 people were hospitalized for influenza this flu season. Over 20,000 people have died already from influenza this flu season. Now, you guys
Mm-hmm.
think about the flu shot that we have had for 30 years, bro, or more. They're injecting this shot into people with the influenza virus with antibodies in it. And then your body is supposed to adapt to the antibodies, right? And kill off the flu. But they're putting influenza in you. That's the vaccination. What the hell do people think the vaccination is going to be for the coronavirus? That's their answer. They're going to put the coronavirus inside of you. Now, when we go to these hospitals and take whatever fugazi test they give us, and they tell us, oh, yeah, you have COVID-19, everybody's getting it, you're going to have to be vaccinated. Then we're going to believe them because we don't know what's going on. But it's a ploy to vaccinate people. Vaccination, vaccination, vaccination. And do you guys understand that the chemtrails that they're running all over the world? Well, whatever agent they put in you with this so-called vaccination for COVID-19, you best believe that there's going to be another chemical down the line with that chemical inside of you is going to react to that. Do not take this vaccination. This whole thing with these players getting it and everything else, I'm not buying it, bro. That's my thoughts on it, dog.
No doubt, man. It's like, yo, D came with that heat, man. I mean, yo, that brother came with the ether, man. This dude made some great points. I mean, and it's crazy, man. You know what's so crazy, D? I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on this virus. Like trying to study it, trying to learn it, like how does it affect the body and all this kind of stuff. And it's true, especially when they put certain celebrities, like when I was hearing about Tom Hanks and his wife, and then when I heard about Idris Elba, getting it, and
Right.
I keep saying,
Right.
I keep telling myself, I was like, yo, I kept saying to myself, why do I get this feeling that they're trying to promote a vaccines for you to get vaccinated? And I'm getting that feeling from what you were talking about. And it's true. It's all part of the agenda. It's part of the agenda. And I also said that for me, for me, like you said, this is bigger than basketball. But I also said that these owners, why do you think that they were telling David Stern that they wanted at least 30 days? They already mentioned about why do you think that it that they were saying that it needs to be 30 days? And I said, you know why? Because these guys are trying to make their money, because you know how everything is shut down. Look at it this way, D. You notice that ever since that the NBA has been suspended, a lot of these sports shows have not been able to talk about anything. They're so bored that they've had to put archives, they've had to put a lot of old content out, just so that they don't stay bored. And some of them have talked about some things, but it's like, also notice that they haven't really been able to see. People are talking about how much LeBron gets talked about and how people hate the fact that he gets, you know, sometimes even blasted on TV. But it's like, look, they haven't been able to push their agenda, and these sports networks haven't been able to talk about him. Which is why, at the end of the day, I keep telling you that. Why have I said that everything correlates with business? Because this is about one thing and one thing only, and it's about profit. The NBA owners are not even thinking about the human side of it. They keep telling people to be safe, but they want this to resume in about 30 days to check to see if everything's okay. Not thinking that this thing is a very serious matter, and you're putting pretty much money in front of everything, and it's like, all right, it's an agenda by the masses. They're putting this about money, and it's very sad, because I'm saying to
A
myself,
lot of them,
go ahead.
a lot of them are the elitists, bro. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, to dig a deeper into it, it's always been known that there's been an agenda by the elitists to annihilate at least a third of the world's population. And you know, these are scary facts, but bro, like these are things that people call conspiracy theories. But when you look at what's been taking place over the past 25 years, bro, it falls right in line and what they're trying to do. It's all testing phases. Ebola,
Mm-hmm.
HIV, COVID-19, these are all testing phases, bro. To see how the
Swine
public
flu.
reacts, to see what needs to be done, to see how they can attack. I'm telling you, man. And again, like I don't. That's why I don't really like to dig into those things. But it just
Yeah,
makes no sense. It makes no sense that if Joe Schmo gets the coronavirus, it should be just as important if Kevin Durant gets it. But why are
right.
we getting only certain names? And it's funny that these certain names we're getting are the superstars of the league, bro. Right?
Exactly. Exactly. And it's like, notice, man, it's a lot. Notice, it's like Durant, superstar. Donovan Mitchell, all star. Rudy Gobert, all star. It's like you notice that, but it's like certain people are kind of being kept under the rug, because it's true. If Joe Schmo got it, like you mentioned, at the same time, I definitely agree that if you're holding one person accountable who's just another regular person, it's like it's the same thing from somebody who's well known to somebody who nobody even really knows about. Everybody is one thing and one thing only, and in common: human. We're all humans. No matter how different we are, no matter how famous or not we are, we're humans. All right, it's true.
Yeah, man.
It's really sickening, man. For this, shout out to Tomoko, who says Burger King is losing to McDonald's. And let me go back because I kind of went off. There we go. Trying to press the touch. This is the thing. It's a 2-in-1 touchscreen laptop. So he says Burger King is losing to McDonald's. I feel sad for Burger King. They need new recipes for new foods on their menu. To be honest, I haven't really touched Burger King or McDonald's in a long time. I'm a Wendy's person, to be
Long
honest.
time. Long time.
But even then, so
You
I
know
haven't.
what the you know what the unfortunate you know what the unfortunate thing is about that, Lewis and Tomoko. This is for you too. See, I've been
Mhm.
out of the country. I've been over to Europe. Uh, the meats of these fast food restaurants in other countries, it's not the same. The foods that they're getting over there is not the same of the garbage that we're getting here in America. They're actually still using real beef in other countries. We know freaking well that those patties at McDonald's are not real beef, bro. We
That's
know
facts.
this.
That's facts.
But Tomoko and those guys, they're getting real beef. You know where the best beef on earth is? Where Tomoko is, in Japan.
Japan, yep. Wagyu, that's that real
Beef.
beef.
That's the best beef you could get on earth. And
Yep.
in France, when I was over in France, the Royale, which is the quarter pounder, because of the metric system, they call it the Royale. It doesn't even taste the same as the quarter here. It tastes the same at all. Why is that? If it's all McDonald's, the burger should taste exactly the same. Is that not right?
That's
Well,
correct.
why the hell does the burger taste different from taste in America? Because it ain't the same, bro. So I would take what Tomoko said right there. I would take that in account because it probably, you can actually taste real meat over there where Tomoko at. Tomoko over here, we're getting all trash. And I haven't eaten fast food in over 15 years.
Wow. Yeah, and I was saying it, man. It's like I said it. Like when you taste Kobe beef and when you taste Wagyu beef, like that's the original. That's the real good stuff right there. That's the actual original beef, not the stuff that's being like manufactured and processed of the stuff that we get over here. And it's been said many times, man. It's like, it's true. You can honestly really taste the difference of when you taste meat in one country as compared to when you taste it here. And it's like, well, they're the same. They're the same they're the same chain. Name. Why is it that they? It's like if you have the same company, why is it that one tastes different than the other? Well, it's pretty simple. Like honestly, when you think about it, it's like you would think it would taste the same, but honestly, it's like the real legit stuff is not in America. It's out of America. And when you go to a place like Japan, you're getting the real legit stuff. It's not. That's why it really. Yeah, you're
But you
getting
know
real.
those cows, the Kobe cows, those cows live better lives than we do, and I'm not even exaggerating, bro. That's the organ grass, so they eat the best of their. They get fucking massages. You understand? They massage these cows. These cows are pampered and spoiled just to be butchered. That's why the meat costs so much. It's full work into these, and they're grazing. The food that they graze off is grown in an enclosed. You're not gonna drop any chemicals on the food they graze on or any of that. There's no Monsantos and GMOs being shot into the meat. None of that. It's pure beef. These cows are getting pure grain grown grass, right? It's crazy, bro. It's just absolutely crazy the difference. And for anyone that's been from country to country, I'm telling you, you will definitely taste the difference. It's amazing the trash that we're being served in this country. That's why it's no secret that this is the fattest country in the world, but it's a reason for that. Because the food here is all trash and America's addicted to it.
you know what's so crazy? And I just think about it now. This is why the media is like a damn drug. It's crazy how much advertising and how much money and mass production that these guys make, but it's and invest in medical care, and on top of that, being able to supply like really good natural food. Everything is so processed. Everything has extra chemicals in it. Like you wonder like why some of the, it's crazy how I know quite a few friends that have not really even eaten in like some certain restaurants or have not even touched fast food. It's like if they put it's like if they put like crack or cocaine or whatever like inside these meats that it gets these people for some reason they're so addicted to it, but honestly not realizing that it's very harmful because of the chemicals that they put inside that. It's not even pure. It's not pure. It's not even real. So it's the quality of the meat is like it's bad. It's not even
Yeah,
it's not even like it's not even real.
it's the
Let's
food
keep
in
going.
general, Louis. It's Monsanto. That's what. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Oh no. Go ahead. I was listening to you. I didn't say anything. Go ahead.
Oh, it's the food in general, bro. That's what the
Mm-hmm.
GMOs. GMOs are genetically modified organisms, right? So
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. You know, when you go from country to country and different cultures have different palates because we're used to eating different foods. So some
Mm-hmm.
things that will be good in this country to culture in America, it tastes nasty. It has a bitter or a nasty or just an off taste to it because our palates are not accustomed to their cuisine. You understand what I'm saying? So when you move from country to country and they have different cuisines, their palates are used to different foods being appealing to them. Why is it that the McDonald's French fries? They did a study on this. It was a documentary on this. These college kids, they took McDonald's French fries all over the world, right? They took
Mm-hmm.
them into remote tribal places and everything, and all over the world, they like McDonald's French fries. Here's the thing: genetically modified organisms. They put that in there so that your palates want that because it's no way that everybody around the world should like this single fry. It happened. Do you know that you can sit McDonald's, you can take McDonald's fries, you can cover them up, you can throw a moist paper towel under the McDonald's fries, right? You can cover them up for 2 years' time, and the McDonald's fry will not mold, deteriorate, or rot. Now, what potato does not degrade? Tell me
Exactly.
that.
That's right.
See,
That's right.
a potato will decompose. You can sit, and when you take that moisture and you cover it, that's giving it even more of a reason to decompose, to rot out. But a McDonald's fry will be the same 2 years later. Why is that? Please explain to me. Why is that? It's not a free potato, bro. It's not.
Nope. It's the GMOs like you was talking about, bro. It's crazy.
They're not genetically modified organisms, bro. They modify it to appeal to the human, not a
Mm.
tribe, not a country, to the human palates. It's
Yep.
modified. That's why so many chemicals. And it's all a big racket, bro, because what's right in the middle of this? You have the FDA sitting
Mm-hmm.
right in the middle of it, right? Now you think about this. You have the FDA sitting right in the middle of this. So the FDA controls that side of it, but they also control the pharmaceuticals. So they give you the chemicals, they taint your bodies, and you run to the pharmaceutical companies to get healing. It's all a fucking racket. So they all make money. They
That's
kill
crazy.
you, they make money to try to save you. And the
Yo,
FDA sits right in the middle of it and get paid by the lobbyists on both sides. It's a racket, bro.
this is crazy. This is crazy. Damn, it's crazy. It's like, god damn, it's like you'll kill and save a person to make money either way. So that's why, and this is why I keep telling people, man. This is why it's crazy how business finds a way to connect to everything. It finds a way to connect to everything. Like even when it comes to medical stuff, man, like that. Shoot, kill or save, all
Bro,
for the mighty. Go ahead.
bro, I want to get back. I want to get back to basketball because trust me, bro, I could
I
tell you
know you.
some things that will blow your mind. My brother and I have been studying this stuff since 1996, bro, and I'm talking
Yeah,
about in depth. I could tell you some things to blow your mind. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
could talk about this kind of stuff all night. I could connect some dots for you that will
yeah.
just spin your head. You would be like, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah, there's some things that I've done. There's some things that I've kind of done studies of myself, honestly. But yeah, we'll go and just stick back to basketball because I could go all night with this stuff. Just like you can, because I
Yeah.
know you know the in and outs of like just pretty much like from everything that you study. Trust me, there's some things I know myself that can't really be much more dive indulge deep into. Let me see. Oh no, I said that already. Prices, they need a boost to compete. All right, lower prices, and just want to read real quick. Tomoko does say that he has to agree with you. Patties in the North American countries are of lesser quality. I visited my home country in the Philippines, and the meat tasted more real, so to speak, compared to Canada.
Yeah.
That lets you know right there. I let you know right there.
Go from country to country, man. Hey, look, I'll tell you like this: if you think back, Louis, I would say how you was around in the early '90s, right?
Right.
So you think back to KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back then, you go to have a Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it tastes pretty much the same. The kernel recipe tastes the same. Why is that not the same anymore? How can you go to Kentucky Fried Chicken in New Jersey and then come to a Kentucky Fried Chicken in Ohio and the goddamn food tastes different? It's not even the same. It's 13 spices, right? Well, why is it not the same?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it shows you right there. And God knows what they're doing to the chickens. Oh my gosh, don't get me started. That's why I don't eat that crap anymore.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. So, like I said, and now we're gonna get back to the basketball talk. So considering what all has happened, now, so now with the season right now on hold, and I kind of want to focus on LeBron and Kawhi a little bit. The reason being, even though that there's obviously other 28 teams in the league, and we kind of dove into this. I kind of have to look at this from a legacy standpoint. What would this mean for Kawhi Leonard, for Paul George, for Anthony Davis, for LeBron James? When we're talking about the Lakers and the Clippers, and especially because when we're talking about LeBron and Kawhi, they're both on the brink of a little bit of history here. Because on one hand, if LeBron were to win the championship, it would be his fourth. It would be his fourth title. This would be the third different team that he wins a championship with. And let's say that he was to win a finals MVP, he wins an MVP for both the East and the West. And it would be the same. And Kawhi has already done that, but Kawhi is a little bit more different considering that he's not where a great player would be at as of yet. And he's going to be 29 this season. But if he was to win, he would get a finals MVP if he was to win one. And he would get his third ring and his third finals MVP with a third different team. So what is what do you think about the fact that if the season were not to continue, these guys are not able to finish the season and go into the playoffs, like how would that affect both LeBron and Kawhi? And what does that also mean for Anthony Davis and Paul George? What do you think about What do you think about that?
It affects them massively, bro. And because let's be honest, and we were saying this is LeBron's year. This was his year to do it, bro. And I don't know how much he's going to have to give moving forward and to be able to compete. Like these teams are just going to get tougher and tougher, and LeBron's going to get older and older, and then Kevin Durant's coming back, which is going to be a problem. You know what I mean? I think that's how it affects LeBron because it's going to be very difficult for him to get back to a finals after this season, and it kind of tarnishes his what he could have accomplished. But in LeBron's case, a lot of people, even myself, already have him in the top 10. So legacy-wise, he's pretty much set in stone. Now, when we go to the flip side and talk about Kawhi with his degenerative knee issue and everything else, the fact that he can't stay on the floor, I keep saying this about Kawhi Leonard. I think he's a phenomenal player. Don't get me wrong. But, bro, availability plus durability equals eligibility. The dude can't stay on the damn floor, bro. So his career, like in my opinion, Kawhi will never be in the top 10. He won't be up there with LeBron and them because he won't stay healthy enough to be able to produce like the Jordans. Listen, these guys play 80, 90 games. 80, 70, 80 games a season, bro. Sometimes full seasons, all 82 games. Kawhi's not going to do that. And I know that a lot of things are measured in the postseason, but you don't have the Kareem stats, the Kobe Bryant stats without the regular season. So we can't just nullify that. He will never be able to put up the numbers, the stats to go along with those titles. Let's not get it twisted. The guys that have the titles, they also have these spectacular statistics to go along with them. And if you don't have them in conjunction, then you're not going to be rated as one of the top players of all time. And that's how it's going to affect Kawhi Leonard because he can't afford to lose any games because he's already missing times out of games every season. So to miss the rest of this season, that's damaging. That's a damaging blow to him and his overall legacy. Because with a degenerative knee issue, that's telling you those knees are not going to get any better. So,
very good points right there. Very good points for both guys. Let me check into the chat right before I give my point.
Chris Wedge.
Shout out to Chris Wedge in the building. Jay says, I feel bad for the In-N-Out Burger fans. There's only one place that's had original recipe. It's in one Cali In-N-Out Burger. Well, like I said, I know how I feel about that one, but just because Cali's in America. Shout out to Chris Wedge, who says, good evening to you, the Mr. Snack King Doctor. I haven't heard that name in a long time. And to my main man, the legendary brother Louis. Appreciate my main man, Chris Wedge, man, out there in Denmark, man. Salute to you as always.
Chris, you make me want to go get a snack now.
Hey, D, we got time, man. And shout out to Jay real quick. He says the KD that we knew will never be again, but he's basically 7 feet. Player who can be altered at his position when he raises up like Neek. KD has his age to possibly benefit him in his comeback. And I'll get to Kevin Durant in a second and talking about his injury return, even though he's looked good, dunking and stuff like that. But let me just get on this back end with LeBron and Kawhi. I'm going to basically put it like this, man. With this virus, it's taken an opportunity to see which player is obviously going to take the reins in terms of NBA history. Because when you look at both players have an opportunity to win a third MVP, finals MVP, with a third different team. Both players. It would have been more impressive with Kawhi because, for one, he got traded from San Antonio to Toronto, a team that he did not originally pick. They win a championship, being that as it may with what happened to Golden State, okay? Obviously with injuries and all that, but the bottom line is him and the Raptors got it done. Then you leave free agency to go to the Clippers. You help get Paul George with what Jerry West was able to pull off, and then you win an MVP. Then what happens with the narrative is going to be, well, everywhere Kawhi goes, Kawhi wins. So he helps you win. And he helps you build a team. So the thing is, you look at both players, you can build narratives off of this. You can honestly build narratives. Then when you got LeBron, with LeBron James, LeBron has an opportunity, obviously, to win a fourth title and a third finals MVP. And LeBron, he's already a top 10 all-time great. I have him in my top 10. I have him currently in number 9. I know you've heard me say this many times of how I got him in the top 10. But I just said that I don't have him in the top 5, and I don't have him as the greatest or even in the top 3 for my reasons. You can't lose more finals than you win and be considered a finals, even if you put in context. I mean, there's a lot more that I could go back and forth with. Am I really going to put him above some of the other players who, in my opinion, deserve to be higher than him? And even if it's subjective, from my standpoint, he is in the bottom top 10. I cannot put him in the top considering some of what the others accomplished and what they did. And even some of the players did it in a much shorter time. So, and considering that it's taken LeBron as long as he has just to get 3 rings. So, and he's in his 17th season. So I can't put him above that. And it goes back to what you're saying. This was LeBron's opportunity, knowing that Kevin Durant is out with an injury, knowing that the Golden State Warriors are not in his way. Two big reasons why LeBron was not winning rings. And now we have the virus that has and LeBron has balled out this season. So just because I don't like his diva personality, I'm going to say it again. LeBron has stepped up defensively. I give him credit. And I get him to give him credit that he's still playing great in his 17th season. I'm not going to take that away from LeBron, no matter how much personally I feel about him. And the thing is, when I talk about him, I stick to basketball. I don't take this off the court, and I don't talk about his family. I don't talk about what he does in the community, because it's got nothing to do with that. And that's what his fans don't want to understand. So they keep trying to connect his off the court stuff with his on the court performance, with his on the court accomplishments. And I said, those two things have nothing, they cannot correlate, because they have nothing to do with each other. That's two different things. But that's what they'll do. But my point is, we were robbed of an opportunity. Now, can the season possibly come back? It's possible, but it's like, me personally, I want to see everybody healthy going into next year. I'm thinking about the human side of me right now. And it sucks, because if this was to shut down, then LeBron has to deal with a returning KD. He also has to deal with a returning Golden State team, because if we remember, they got Andrew Wiggins in the trade, and they traded D'Angelo Russell for him. Steph Curry will be back fully healthy. So will Klay Thompson. Draymond Green will be obviously back. And like I said, we don't know what will happen with the NBA draft. We won't know. So we won't know with that. And then if we look at Anthony Davis and we look at Paul George has been labeled as a playoff choker really recently as of late. So his opportunity to pretty much prove to people that he doesn't choke in the playoffs. And then Anthony Davis, who's been to the playoffs before, but we want to see, can he take his game to the next level if the Lakers were to go deep into the playoffs and possibly go to the NBA Finals. And, obviously, it was fun and it was lit when we were at the stream and we were talking about, possible playoff matchups and the way things were to work and who was to win the NBA title and all that kind of stuff. So that would have been, and that's what obviously we got robbed from. But again, we got to worry about the health part and, thinking about human beings. Like I said, first and foremost, man, it's about health and it's about family. No, it's not about money and it's not about the sport. We can put the sport to the side because it's bigger than that. But when it comes to these two guys, it's like what D said, and I wholeheartedly agree with him. If the season gets canceled, I can't see LeBron winning another title. And the crazy part is, the worst part is, he already came out and said he wants to be a Laker for life. He doesn't win a championship in LA. Laker fans are not like most fans around the league when it comes to their teams. Like, you don't win for them, they don't care what you did in the past. They care about what you're going to do for them now and for the future. And LeBron still has, this is year 2. So if you lose this season, you go into year 3, you're a year older. You'll be 36. So, and the question is, how much time left does he really have to be able to win a title? Because it's not going to get any easier for him. And I even said that if this season doesn't continue, listen, I'm telling you this on my channel right now. I'm saying it right now. At least with Kawhi Leonard, he's got time because he's 28. LeBron's 35, turning 36 this year, starting next season. Ladies and gentlemen, if the season doesn't continue and LeBron does not get a chance to win a title this year, LeBron is done winning championships. He's done. Just like what we were talking about with Tom Brady when he Bucks, even though he has a good team. Remember, he signed for 2 years. 2 years. And I'm telling you now, he doesn't get a chance to compete for a title this season. I'm telling you right now, you're hearing it on the Louis Sports Network, and D is my witness. And D was saying the same thing about Tom Brady when we was talking about football. LeBron James is done winning championships. These are just facts for what is about to happen coming in next season and the crop of talent, because you know that the young talent is also going to get better too. So we got to keep that in mind. So I mean, that's much I got to pretty much say. All I got to say about LeBron and Kawhi. Took away a chance for them to meet history, but also going like what D was saying though with Kawhi. Go ahead.
And you know what else, Louis? I think that more than likely the season will be shut down the rest of this season. What else that does, and maybe not. I'm not going to jump the gun, but right. It's a good chance that happens. And if that does happen, which this is the hypothetical scenario we're talking about, that would make it even worse for LeBron. And I'll tell you why I say that. Guys heal. You know what I mean? Guys, now they have no choice but to heal. And they're basically quarantining everybody. They have to rest now. You know, half the fucking league is playing on injury, but now they get a chance to sit down and heal. So now these teams are coming back fresh next season. Bro, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, dog.
Facts. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, that was, and I said that was probably, no, it's crazy because I said that was the worst thing that could have happened, because if you look at the Clippers, yeah, they haven't played up to expectations, but it's like they've also had a lot of injuries and they've played 29 different starting lineups too. But like I said, I don't give Kawhi passes. I don't give excuses and all of that. Look, there's times that he pretty much gets the smoke from me, because I'm like, it's pathetic with how much low management that's being done. But it's like sometimes you just don't show up and play. But I'm telling you now, it's true. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard D. Jefferson say it, man. All these teams are getting to quarantine and all these teams are getting healthy. And it's like even the Clippers too. Also forget that Joakim Noah, that new acquisition, has not been acclimated yet. And all of these teams get a chance to rest and they get healthy. And I said that was the worst thing that could have happened to LeBron James. That's the worst thing that could have happened, because now it's like, now you have to deal with all these teams healthy. And I said that this was going to be one of the toughest runs for LeBron. Well, depending on who they play, but I felt like with the Grizzlies, I felt like it's gonna, because when we talked about the Grizzlies, I just felt like, again, young and inexperienced, but you know, going from the second round to the finals, they were all going to be tough. So he was going to have at least 3 difficult rounds, you know. But like I said, all these teams get a chance to heal. So that's what's really bad. So let's go into the comments before I put the last topic up, and then in about 28 minutes, then I'm going to go into wrestling next. We're going to talk about the Monday Night Wars with WWE and WCW. So that should be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about NWO. We're going to talk about DX. We're going to talk about, you know, the stars of the 90s and then like what caused the rise and then the fall of WCW and why WWE is still the head honcho when it comes to the corporation today. So let's go into the comments really quick. I can already see. Chris Wedge says, Dr. D, from the sound of that cough, you need loads of water, man. I hope you're okay, says Chris Wedge.
Oh, that's my wife, man. That's my wife, Chris. My cough that you hear ain't from nothing but weed.
Tomoko says, did you know, biologically speaking, twins are born from the same sperm and egg cells that splits into 2? Oh, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, studying the human body. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I learned that, man. I learned that in health.
Tomoko is funny, man.
Always doing that, man. Gotta appreciate him, though. Tomoko, do you know that Markeith and Marcus Morris are fraternal twins and not identical twins? It's crazy, and they still kind of look like each other, but they're fraternal. That's I found that out the other day, and I said they're not identical, but they're fraternal. That's crazy what genetics do, man. The genetics is. And Jay says, haha, is LeBron in South Florida getting work done? Oh, we talking about that Genesis? That time he took 2 weeks off when he was with the Cavs, I remember. Nursing these little injuries when they keep talking about LeBron is the most durable, but I'm like, I told you that's another thing. Shout out to Clay Pro in the building. Chris Wedge also says LeBron will play different next season in NR19. He will major low manage and not go for the regular season MVP, but wait for the playoffs before turning on the juice. I got to come out with a video about the 4 MVPs that apparently a lot of people, especially the media, have been saying that LeBron was robbed of. There's a lot of context that goes into why those MVPs he didn't win. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that when he was in Cleveland, people were making the case that he should have gotten 3 when he had Kyrie and Kevin Love. But the thing is, if y'all really watch the games, LeBron was coasting through the season along with the Cavaliers. And it was because they knew that they had the most talent. That's why the media kept saying that. It's not a big deal that the Cavaliers, they'll just coast through the season because they know what's most important is the playoffs. But look at the Eastern Conference that they played in. There were not really that many talented teams in the East. when LeBron was running with the East. It's a reason why a lot of his fans continue to talk about the same thing, and they vomit the same repetitive nonsense that I keep hearing from the media. And it's like, we always keep hearing those eight straight finals. But I say, yo, the reason that LeBron was not getting MVP is because there were a lot more players that had better seasons. And when you look at the impact that they had on their team, it makes sense why their storyline and their narrative fits with why they won the MVP award. And I'm going to make another video on that. Possibly we might come on that tomorrow. And I'm going to pick 4 specific seasons as to what fans have been saying that they felt like he should have won the MVP award. And I'll debunk all of it. And make sure you guys come in tomorrow. And like I said, we could come in and we can, like I said, we guys could come and have a discussion on it. I would love to get your inputs on that, man. Definitely would be there. Jay says, haha, the juice. Yep, he was on that juice. And it's crazy because Jameer Nelson, who played in the NBA, for those who know, he's on that biogenesis report. Same with Alex Rodriguez. But it's been kind of... Clay Pro says, yeah, wait before the playoffs to start using human growth hormone. Oh, the all famous HGH. Oh, my God. The famous HGH. I know all about that. Chris West also says, so how long will it be before the mental scars heal once the corona is over? Will fans return to the stadiums? Will there be physical contact between players? It's going to be weird. Well, to answer your question, there was even a suggestion by NBA owners, including even Adam Silver, as if to say that they really wanted to do what pretty much that the UFC was doing, at least what they did last weekend when they was in Brazil, and what the WWE is currently doing right now at their performance center in Orlando, and that's to perform in empty arenas. Now, LeBron has come out and said that he's not okay with it, so that he would not play without a fan base. James Harden and Victor Oladipo spoke out also, and they said that they would not play without the fans. So, and they said that it would feel weird. And I said this, with the WWE, with wrestling, this has been done before. So I don't feel weird when there's no fans in the arena. I don't really feel weird because it's been done before and I've seen this. Especially also, if you even listen to the promos, because I was watching Edge yesterday on Friday, and he delivered a promo on Randy Orton, and the promo felt so real in an empty arena. Now, obviously, you usually hear fan reactions, and fans will, talk this and that, and they'll put the little cookie cutter insults, like when people tend to speak and they try to, be loud. But what listening to Edge, it was like you can, in the empty arena, it's like you can listen to every single word, and it's like it felt so real. Obviously, it's scripted. Obviously, it's about acting, but it felt real. And I'm used to it because I've seen it before. So I've seen guys compete in empty arenas. It's nothing new. So I'm used to that. It was a little bit strange and from the UFC standpoint because I had never seen an empty arena. Every fight that I've seen, it's always been a packed crowd. So that was the first to see that card from the preliminary to the main card, pretty much all empty fights. So, that was a little bit getting used to, but I got kind of used to it after every single fight. So when it comes to physical contact, it's going to be, again, this is a more of a precautionary thing. And it's crazy because people are going to live, they're going to try to live their life as if nothing ever happened after this. And I guarantee you that's going to happen. Like if we get through this, and like I said, the optimistic part in me believes we will get through this. Trust me, people are going to start living like as if it never happened. And then something worse might happen. And then it was like, you keep thinking to yourself, like there's no way possible, especially with the people in New York, especially when you live around, when you don't really live around houses or bodies of water. There's a lot of ignorant, naive people out here that don't think that things are going to happen. And it's like anything can happen at any time, man. Anything can happen at any time. It can. That's how I believe. That's how I think.
Hey, man. My wife and I just went out today and bought a reverse osmosis filter, right? That's for your water supply, right? It's not even really about the COVID-19. It just basically goes on what you said. At any time, anything can happen. One day it was 69 degrees here. The next morning it was snow flurries. Then it gets warm again. And then we have a flood. My daughter's car is in the middle of the street that morning. I put a video up showing it on my channel.
I
And
saw it.
one day cold, next day hot, one day cold. That's a recipe for tornadoes. If a tornado come through and shut down the power grid, and we got a generator and a reverse osmosis filter in here, then you got water that you can use at least to cook with. And you know what I mean? You never know what's going to happen, bro. Anything can happen at any time. You just got to try to do your best to be prepared.
Exactly. So let's just look at the comments before we get on this last topic, and then we're gonna close out the show, and then I'm gonna go on the back burner to my wrestling content coming up next. And again, make sure you guys are smashing the like, man. Make sure y'all hitting that subscribe for not only Louis Sports Network, but also Speaking My Sports Talk, and make sure you guys are sharing the stream. Jay says that he feels that the NBA is going to give what the players and the fans want, but those fans may not be in the stands in the beginning. I think that's exactly what's going to happen, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's a reason why for this to be a limit of 30 days and not longer. It's because, like I said, they want butts in those seats to make money. It's not about the players, and if it's about the fans, it's about what they got in their pockets. It's not about like, they're not even thinking bigger than the game. They're thinking about the game. So I agree with you, man. They're going to give them what they want, but it's not going to involve people first. It's going to want to be safe, but also we got to see if the players are going to protest too, because some players are not cool with this. So we're going to see what happens. Chris Wedge says that the WWE has been putting on fantastic shows from their performance center. WrestleMania is going to be great. Here's the issue that I'm having though with both Raw and SmackDown. They've kind of put a good mix of promos, and they've kind of put a mix of like maybe one or two matches. But the issue I'm having is they keep playing so much old school stuff. It gets kind of tiring, and for me, it kind of ruins the program. Like, if you're going to have these people perform, have them perform. But you know what's so crazy? It's like Vince doesn't care about who he puts at risk, because it's like these guys are obviously they're contained right now, but it's like all of these guys are making contact with one another. It's like, trust me, this is going to get alarming once a WWE superstar has COV. Would they consider closing WrestleMania now? Because originally they were trying to move to Saudi Arabia. Originally, that was the location, because Tampa said, we're going to close this down. I heard some fans on YouTube, they were like, oh, they don't have the right to shut WrestleMania down. I said, but Vince doesn't own Tampa. He owns the WWE. He doesn't own the state of Tampa, last time I checked. So they can tell him that they're not going to run the show. They can tell him that. Vince does not run the state of Tampa Bay. He doesn't own the 50 states. He's not the president. He's the owner of a multi-billion-dollar company in wrestling. So he doesn't own the state of Tampa. If Tampa says we're not going to have the show because of our concerns with the virus, Vince can't do nothing about that. He has to figure out where he's going to move his product to. That's it. That's all he can do. So they tried Saudi Arabia, but due to travel concerns, that's not going to happen. So they said instead, this is going to be a 2-day event. 2-day event. First time ever, Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to involve so I'm just wondering what's going to happen with the Hall of Fame ceremony now that this is both Saturday and Sunday, what time they're going to start that. So I don't know how that's going to affect it, but it is going to affect it in some way. But this is with Vince. He does not give two shits. He doesn't give a damn. He's about this at the end of the day. Always is and always will be. He's about the money. He could care less about how well or how bad. He's going to use what he's got and he's going to run with it. Jay says, haha, at events, the fans have been moved to where the camera mostly are. That's a fact. That's a fact. Shout out to Clay Pro. He says, LeBron he's not in my top 15. Think about Allen Iverson. Think about Karl Malone. Think about Tim Duncan. Think about John Stockton, Patrick Ewing, Rasheed Wallace, Tracy McGrady, Dwayne Wade. These guys need respect also. Well, here's the thing, Clay Pro. I'm not saying that those guys don't deserve their respect, but here's the problem with a guy like Rasheed Wallace. He's a problem with a guy like Patrick Ewing. Here's a problem with a guy like John Stockton. No, Tim Duncan, you need to take off. He's in my top 10, and he deserves to be there because Tim Duncan not only was a productive player, but the dude he won. The guy won 5 rings. So when you compare to these other players, Dwayne Wade, he did win 3, but I would have him as more of a top 20 to 25 player. He's not in that top 15 range because it's like I'm not going to put him over guys like Jerry West or Moses Malone or Elgin Baylor or John Havlicek or Isaiah Thomas or Dr. J. You got to think about those players too, and those guys deserve their respect too. When I look at Patrick Ewing, he was a great player, but he didn't win. And the thing was, if you look at the championships he could have possibly won, he ran into Michael Jordan, and he didn't have a second star where he could have won multiple titles, which is unfortunate. And in the one matchup that he did go to the finals with when he was in his prime and he wasn't hurt, because the second finals he lost, he didn't even play because he was injured, and he was already 36, 37 years old. He got outplayed by Hakeem Olajuwon and only shot 41% in the series, and which is why Hakeem's higher than him. Patrick Ewing's also never been MVP of the basketball league, which Hakeem was. He was a defensive player of the year, was Hakeem. And he also won 2 finals MVPs and won 2 rings. So Patrick Ewing, I agree, he's a top 10 center, but that dude didn't win. You look at Hakeem, you look at Wilt, you look at Kareem, you look at Shaq, Tim Duncan bigs, they won. Not only were they dominant at their position, but they won. And Patrick was great, but he didn't win. That's what hurts. So Allen Iverson, I respect him a lot, but he didn't win. Went to the finals one time. Rasheed Wallace, I have a lot of respect for him. He went to 6 straight conference finals with the Pistons. He went to the finals when he was Western Conference Finals when he was with the Blazers. So he went 7 times. The problem is he only won 1 ring. He should have had 2 if it wasn't for that bonehead mistake of double teaming Ginobili and leaving Robert Horry open. So it would have been different with Rasheed. Detroit could have been a dynasty, but that got kind of ruined. Tracy McGrady. Here's the thing about T-Mac. T-Mac to me was a great offensive talent, but he was an inefficient offensive talent. And like I said, I love T-Mac a lot, but it's like he got into the Hall of Fame because he was a 7-time All-Star. There were guys who I could say were much better defenders than him, and it's like if he's going to go into the Hall of Fame, there's other guys who are more deserving to go in. I look at a guy like Chris Webber. He's not in the Hall of Fame, and he should be in there. There's a lot of guys who are currently out of the league that have been more impactful than Tracy McGrady, with all due respect, because I love T-Mac watching him in his battles with Kobe. But T-Mac was also injury prone, and the only time he got out of the first round was when he was a role player with San Antonio, and that was in 2013 when the Spurs were 1 win away from winning the whole damn thing against LeBron and company in Miami. So I love T-Mac, but I'm telling you, if he's in the Hall of Fame, there's other guys who you can make a case that should be in there other than him. That's my respect. And the thing is, I respect all of those, and I respect all those. Go ahead, D. He was gonna say something.
I was just gonna say, at the end of the day, bro, you gotta attach some winning to that. You know what I mean? It's good to, like I said, bro, you can have the stats, you can be amazing. But then when you get to the postseason, it's a new season and you have to produce. But it's a two-edged sword. It's sort of like the Kawhi Leonard scenario where he's won in the finals, but you keep missing these season games. You're not packing the stats. Well, you got a guy like McGrady that he has the potential. He's packing the stats, but you ain't winning anything. It's a combination of both. You have to have them both. You can't just be nice during the season and not produce in the finals. You can't be just nice in the finals and you're hurt all the time or you're not on the floor enough, because you won't be amongst the elite, amongst the greats, unless you do both. The thing with Kareem, the 19, 20 years, Kobe, Jordan, they were healthy, bro. You got to stay healthy. Got to. And you got to win. This is something that they did. They stayed healthy, they played, they put up stats, and they won. McGrady did not win. And I agree with Louis. When you don't win, that's a big knock against you. There's a lot of talents in the league, but they didn't win. You didn't hear about him. It's just how it is.
Clay Pro says they never switch teams for rings. I'm not talking about switching teams for rings. I get all that, man. I get about the era. I understand. I understand what you're saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the ultimate bottom line. Whether you decide to switch teams or not, you remembered whether you won or you lost. Okay, I remember how great T-Mac was in his time. I remember how Allen Iverson, how great he was in his time. I remember the impact that Rasheed was. This guy's a former two-time All-Star. I know what all these guys are about. Same thing with Chris Webber. Chris Webber is one of the most underrated, impactful players in NBA history. But the reason he gets left out a lot is because not only of his scandal with Michigan, his beef with Jalen Rose, but and it's one of the biggest reasons why they're keeping him out of the Hall of Fame, but also it's because Chris Webber did not win. Also, he was very impactful. I got a lot of respect for Chris Webber, man. A lot of respect for Chris Webber. The problem is what Deep said. Go ahead.
No, my thing is this: just like I didn't just wanted to speak on that they did not switch rings for ring. I mean, switch teams for rings. That's not always true, bro. I mean, you get a lot more of that in this day and time, but didn't Charles Barkley switch teams to try to get another ring? He didn't accomplish it, but that's exactly what he did. Look at the Robert Ory, the Dennis Rodmans that won rings with multiple teams. You know, I'm not saying that they switched teams to get the ring, but sometimes they didn't get it with the team they started with. So they switched to another team and they got the ring. This happens. Now, it's more of a thing these days, but it's not like it never happened back in the 90s or back in the older eras, because it most certainly did. Guys could not win. You remember the big trade with Ralph Sampson. I mean, come on, guys. This is what happens. Teams make trades. Historically, this has happened. You know, you didn't have the players getting involved. They let the management handle it. And it's more of a thing these days. But guys certainly did switch teams to get rings, you know, back then. Kevin Garnett, he wouldn't have won in Minnesota. He didn't win until he went to Boston. He wouldn't have won in Minnesota. So he switched the team to get the ring. I mean, you know, that's all. But go ahead, Louis. That's all I wanted to say, man.
No doubt. Jay says that they get respect here. Obviously, T-Mac, AI, and Rasheed wanted out. Ewing was forced to Seattle. No, the Ewing thing was true. He wanted to stay, but they forced him out. At that point, though, Patrick Ewing was already past his prime, and he was too injury prone. So that was different. So the front office, I will say, was kind of terrible during the times that both with T-Mac and AI. Not really more so Rasheed, because Rasheed was on a good team. It's just that they just had a lot of turmoil with the personalities they had on their team, especially with Coach Dunleavy. There we go. That's what I was thinking about. Mike Dunleavy. And with those Blazer teams, they were talented, but they just they kind of self-destructed when it was, and they just, when it was time to, be there, they just couldn't. So they didn't show up when they were supposed to. Malone went to the Lakers for an opportunity, his choice. Yeah, he was a free agent. That was a good point. Like, Malone was, 39 years old, 40? He chose to go to the Lakers for an opportunity to win a championship. It was his last chance. Before Gary Payton won a ring with Miami, he also joined the Lakers to try to win a championship, and they joined Shaq and Kobe. Like, Robert Ory, free agent.
Amari Stoudemire went to fucking Phoenix to try to win.
Well, actually, no, he was drafted by Phoenix. I think you meant he went to the Knicks.
New York. Yeah, in New York.
He tried to be the guy and try to help them win. It's like they try to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Clay Pro says, can y'all stop basing greatness off of rings? Iverson lost to a mega team. Well, you need to chill with that. I wouldn't say the Lakers were mega. What was mega was Shaq and Kobe, but they had good role players, but they weren't mega. Because there's a lot of people who would say that the Lakers would lose to a lot of teams in today's game. So you could say that Shaq and Kobe were mega for their time. And you're comparing a perimeter superstar.
Yeah. And Clay, you can't really say that we need to stop basing greatness off of rings, because the people that decide who's going to be the top 50 players of all time, you best damn well believe that they're basing it off of the championships they won. So whether you think that we're doing it or not, that is a factor. What top 10 player, Clay Pro, doesn't have a championship? When you look at the top 50 players and you go to the top 10, you tell me which one of those top 10 don't have a ring on their finger. Tell me that, Clay Pro.
And it's like what we said before. We don't base it just off of rings. I said we talked about what they were in their time, stats that they put up, but then also win. It's like a lot. Look at it this way. Why do you think that Elgin Baylor doesn't get mentioned, even though he's one of the most underrated players in NBA history? It's because in the finals that he went, he didn't win a single time. He went 0-8. And the one chance that he had to win a championship, he retired 9 games into the season in 72 when the Lakers won the historic 33 games in a row. And at the time, they won a league best, which was then a record at the time, 69 wins in 72. Like, look at Jerry West. He only has 1 championship as a player. Why doesn't he get mentioned among the greatest? Because he's one of the greatest scorers ever and definitely one of the most underrated. But that's because he has a 1-8 finals record. He's 1-8 in the finals. Look at Wilt Chamberlain. The reason Wilt Chamberlain gets mentioned a lot more was because he was dominant. He was dominant. But why is it that he's on some people's on the lower end of the top 10 is because he lost 4 out of 6 finals. So it's not just the fact that he put individual dominant numbers. Again, what did you do with those numbers when it came to time to win? And that's how you get recognized more. It's not only can you put big stats, but then on top of that, if you win too. I'm not just basing greatness off of rings. I'm telling you stats and then winning on top of that. That's how you get remembered. Tim Duncan put up stats and he won. Kareem put stats and he won. MJ put stats and he won. Magic, Larry, LeBron, Shaq, Hakeem, all these guys in the top 10, they put up the statistics and they were able to win. Some are higher than others because they were able to win at a higher level. Some of them are not going to have the gaudy stats like some of the other guys on the list, but still. Clay come correct too on the players you mentioned. And he says switching teams for rings is some weak ass shit. That's why it's hard for me to respect LeBron. Olajuwon stayed grounded until the championship finally came. He didn't team up with the Lakers or Boston. Now, listen, I got a lot of respect for Hakeem, but we got to also remember that was also a different NBA at that time, too. Players weren't jumping from team to team. It was about, there was more parity. And like I said, players were about being competitive and beating each other to be the best. So it was a different time. It was a different time. So it's different with LeBron and Kevin Durant now in today's game. That's kind of what LeBron started. And like I said, what they both did was they both went to team up with players that were in their prime. I hate the fact that people keep trying to differentiate one over the other. I said, this is the bottom line. Both guys were free agents. They're just trying to say, well, LeBron created a super team while Kevin Durant joined one. I was like, let me correct that once again. The Golden State Warriors were not a super team until Kevin Durant joined them. Once he joined them, he was the mismatch because you couldn't double Steph and you couldn't double Clay. And even then, so man, it's like it's a little bit, it's kind of it was late because that was the mismatch. He was the weaponizer, he was the difference maker.
If they were a super team, they wouldn't have lost to the Cavs that season. And that's a fact. They would not have lost to those Cavs that season if they was a super team. They just wasn't. They were one less player from a super team, and that was Durant, just like Louis said. That made them the super team.
Wow. Jay says that Barkley was almost traded to the Lakers but ended in Phoenix. Yeah, I heard he wanted to go there. So shout out to G Money who's in the building. So not really talking much. We're just talking. We're gonna mention about Kevin Durant real quick.
Hell, Jordan could have been with the Rockets. Remember with Ralph Sampson, that whole Ralph Sampson situation?
I do remember
Michael
that.
Jordan.
All right, so shout out to G Money G. How are you? How's your Saturday going, man? Hope everything is good with you, man. How are you, man?
Everything's going okay. About to go home next week because of the whole coronavirus that's going on in the nation, and also the fact that, yeah, everything's going all right. So yeah, how about with you guys?
Hey
This
man,
is good. What's up, G? Good to see you, bro.
everything is good, man. So just trying to survive, take precautions one day at a time, being optimistic about everything, and just obviously being careful, taking this whole thing seriously. You know what I'm saying? So what we're talking about, G, is we originally started with Adam Silver and David Stern. We were talking about which one was the best. And right now we've kind of lead into now we were talking about the legacies of both LeBron and Kawhi. What does it mean if they don't get a chance to compete for the ring? But right now we're talking about players that we were mentioning about players that Clay Pro had mentioned that he feels that deserve their respect because they didn't go to other teams until their late 30s. And he feels like and he was saying that LeBron is not in his top 15. And so he says that the guys that are mentioned right here in the comment with Wade and Ewing and Stockton and Tim Duncan and Malone and Wallace, he says he feels that they all deserve their respect. And I said, those guys get their respect. The reason they don't get as much mention is because they didn't win in the times that they played. Or if they did win, they didn't win enough. Or they weren't the greatest or they weren't dominant at the time. Because when you stand out and you win and you're either dominant or you're the greatest in the time that you played, that's when you get talked about a lot. It's the reason why Magic Johnson gets talked about so much. I know Kareem gets disrespected, but even he gets talked about a good amount, especially now, like more so now, especially with the way Isaiah Thomas talks about him. Obviously MJ, obviously Shaquille O'Neal, Larry Bird doesn't get talked about as Tim Duncan also, Hakeem Olajuwon. We got Shaq. We have Will Chamberlain, and then we have LeBron James. Some people don't have him obviously in the top 10. I do.
Me too. I do.
And Kobe, I just have him off that top 10, but just off. But like I said, I got my reasons why. But that's no disrespect to Kobe because, like I said, Kobe's one of the greatest to ever play. But like I said, I got my reasons why he's not on there. But that doesn't diminish Kobe's greatness at all. He's a 5-time NBA champion. So like, what do you think about what Clay Pro is saying when you talk about this comment where he's talked about a lot of those guys? And he basically makes it off of the fact that LeBron and Kawhi, and Kevin Durant, for that matter, they switched teams with players in their prime as compared to these other players. They left during their 30s. But the thing was also, people forget that Charles was leaving teams in his prime. He was 29 when he got traded to Phoenix. He was in his prime. Mm-hmm. He was in his prime. So what are your thoughts on this comment right here that Clay Pro's got?
He's not in my top 15. Think about Allen Iverson, Karl Malone, Tim Duncan, John Stockton, Pat Ewing, Rasheed Wallace, T-Mac, D. Wade. These guys need respect also. I mean, wait, who doesn't have in his top 15? Like, what did Clay Pro mean? I'm just trying to understand the comment for a moment.
He doesn't have LeBron in his top 15. That's what he was basically saying because we were kind of talking about him.
I mean, it's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to believe what you want. I'm not trying to be a LeBron fan, but that's kind of blasphemous if you don't think LeBron's a top 15 player. I think he's a top 10 player, but personally for me, I have him number 9 in my list because I just think that guys have better careers. That's just me. But to me, LeBron is definitely a top 15 player. He's in my top 10.
Yeah, and like you, I also have him at number 9 because like I said, like as much as when I said, I'm gonna say this before, I'm gonna say this again. There is no way in hell that he's a top 5 player. There's no way in hell that he's top 3, and there's no way in hell that he's the greatest of all time. His fanboys are gonna say he's the greatest, but they just put stats and they don't really watch the games. They go off of highlights, and they really don't pay attention, which is why they can have their opinion if they want to. But like I said, I still have LeBron as a top 10 player. But like I said, it's a subjective argument. I've always said that. If you don't want to have him in your top 10, that's fine, because other people get mad. Oh, how can you not have LeBron in the top 10? How could he not be top 5?
Some of my friends get pissed at me when I don't have LeBron in my top 5. It's like, LeBron's an amazing player, but you could make a case for guys like MJ, Kareem, Shaq, in my opinion, Kobe, Will. You could make a case. You could make a case for guys having better careers than LeBron. You know what I mean? Like look at Larry Bird, 3 straight MVPs. Look at Shaq, 3 straight Finals MVPs. I mean, Kobe Bryant, leading the NBA in scoring multiple times. I think made 9 defensive teams, 5 championships, including 3 people with Shaq, Michael Jordan. In our opinion, is the GOAT. 6 championships, 6 years, Defensive Player of the Year one time, Rookie of the Year, I think in '88. You saw what he did. I'm just saying that LeBron's an amazing player, but in my opinion, the guys we just mentioned never really played on super teams. LeBron played on a super team with Wade and Bosh, and still went 2-2 in the finals, though, and could have been 1-3 if it wasn't for Ray Allen in Game 6. And LeBron, he did get it done in 2016 against Golden State. He earned that, but to be fair, Draymond got suspended for Game 5. Steph Curry and Andre Iguodala and Andrew Bogut were banged up. I mean, again, I'm not trying to make excuses for the Warriors blowing that series, but I'm just saying you just got to look at that into account. And then 2017, KD goes to the Warriors, and then the Cavs get blown off the floor. And then 2018, I understand many people think that 2018 Cavs were bad. Here's what I think for a moment. If the 2018 Cavs were a bad team, then why would they sweep past the number 1 seed Raptors, who some people thought were going to the finals that year, and win a Game 7 in Boston? I know the Celtics were banged up with no Kyrie and Hayward, but that same quote-unquote trash Cavs team in 2018 won a Game 7 in Boston against a Celtics team that was 10-0 at home at the time in the playoffs. And if it wasn't for George Hill missing a free throw and JR's blunder in the end of Game 1, they might have beat the Warriors in Game 1 and came close in Game 3. The 2018 Cavs weren't that bad. It's just that they didn't have any leadership. So LeBron is a great player, but he has too many flaws into why I don't have him top 5.
Okay. So we're gonna go into this last topic before I'm gonna keep looking at the comments right now. Clay, Rashid was 21, T-Mac was 24 when he wanted out with the second team. AI still wanted out. Can't move the goalposts, man. It's true. That's what. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. These guys wanted out, believe it or not, man. They really did. People forget that Iverson actually wanted out in his prime, man. Right before him and Larry Brown were able to work things out, but he wanted out. He wanted out of Philly. He wanted out. And Pat Croce came very close to trading AI. This is what also people don't want to forget also. At one point, Scottie Pippen was almost traded to the Lakers. I made a video on it.
Yeah, I remember.
Almost traded to the Lakers. You're putting him with prime Kobe, entering his prime, or I should say young Kobe, and then you have dominant prime Shaq, and you have Scottie Pippen playing the 3? Bro, that's too much length right there for the rest of the league. You got Pippen at the 3. You got Ron Harper at the 1. You got Kobe at the 2. You got 3 defenders, 3 wings right there, pretty much, even though Ron Harper's playing point guard. But you got 3 players that are already at the very least, 6'6" and up, playing your 1, 2, and 3 spot. And it's almost like you could plug anybody at the 4, and then you got Shaq. But fortunately, they didn't trade. Scottie Pippen was not a Laker. Because number one, that could have extended Scottie's career. How many more championships would the Lakers honestly won? Because you would have had the best defensive small forward with the Lakers. Kobe Bryant, the best defensive shooting guard on the Lakers. Your 2 and 3 positions are Dobermans. Go ahead, D. What was you going to say? Because you was going to say something.
I was just going to say possibly we could have had that and Scottie Pippen because a lot of the player that he became has to be accredited to Michael Jordan. So not playing with Michael Jordan is no telling if he would have been that exact player. You understand what I'm saying? Because we have to credit Michael Jordan for the Breakfast Club and Scottie Pippen's progression. You got to give him credit for that.
Sure. I don't agree with Clay Pro's comment. Okay, but Steph Curry should be higher than LeBron on everybody's list. Look, I'm not trying to be a LeBron fanboy, but I like Steph Curry, but Steph Curry didn't have the career like LeBron did. To me, Steph Curry didn't become great until like 2013. That's what I believe, okay? Steph Curry, the only time you could say he became the best player in the world was in 2015 and 2016. It's like, look, many people think Steph Curry is a NBA Finals choker. I don't think he's a Finals choker, but he is a Finals underperformer at times, okay? So, yeah. So, even though Steph Curry is amazing, I didn't think he had a career like LeBron, in my opinion.
Well, to be honest with you, Steph Curry gets a little bit of a bad rap because they just go that he's 0 for 8 in the finals in game time or go-ahead baskets. They only look at that one defining stat as to try to say that Curry's not clutch. But what you have to take into account is how they double team him a lot because of the fact that he is the guy that's running the engine of the offense. And why do you think that they double him so much? They don't want him getting hot at all because once he gets hot, it affects everybody else on the floor. So they make him give that basketball up. I'm telling you, the Raptors played a box and one defense. You played a middle school defense on Steph Curry, okay? And the thing is, Steph Curry's not LeBron James. Steph Curry impacts the game from the three-point line. Now, he can drop to the basket and all that, but he can't physically impose his will on the game like LeBron can. That's why I can't put Steph up there. And the thing is, if you look at LeBron's career compared to Steph, yeah, Steph has got 2 MVPs, but the problem is, and he's won 3 rings, which he's done in the LeBron era. The problem is, Steph is going to need a couple more MVPs to match him there. Steph Curry's not even really a defender like that. He tries on defense, but he's not going to make an all-defensive team. LeBron's made the all-defensive team 6 times, so that's where LeBron trumps him there. Then on top of that, Steph Curry also doesn't have a Finals MVP on his resume neither, and LeBron has 3 of them. So that's what hurts also. So I cannot put Steph Curry up on that list. Is he one of the most impactful players in NBA history? You're damn right he is. Did he revolutionize and change the game? You're damn right he is. But from an impactful standpoint, in terms of being able to impose his will on a game, because we have to also remember, Curry's streaky. There's games when he could be super hot, games when he could go really cold. It's just like Klay Thompson too. They, in the regular season, they shoot with incredible efficiency with the high volume of shots they take. But remember, when you game plan for them in the playoffs, their numbers are going to dip because those guys are mostly known as being able to shoot the ball. Klay Thompson is not a guy who really puts the ball on the floor like that. He's really more so a guy that you give the ball to when you get an open 3. He helps you space the floor. It's the same thing when they double team Curry. Because he shoots the 3 ball so well at a high clip and from so deep, the defense has to extend themselves to guard Curry much further than they would really want to. And that's when the floor starts to space out. And that's when Curry can kind of pass. That's why teams play him very difficult, more off the ball to make sure he doesn't touch it. And when he touches it, they double team him as soon as he touches the ball. So I love Curry. I've defended him many, many, many different times on this channel. And I said Curry deserves his respect for the player that he's become. But like G-Money, like you said, he didn't really become this great player until, first of all, he didn't become an all-star until he had a breakout season in 2013 when he started to, when he set the record for most threes hit in a season. Okay? So he started there. Then the next year, he became an all-star for the first time in 2014. Okay? And that was him being a solo all-star leading the Warriors to 51 wins. Because they keep talking about that Curry's had this all-star with Klay and Draymond Green since Curry broke out, but that's not true. Klay didn't become an all-star until 2015. Draymond Green didn't become an all-star until 2016. They don't talk about that. And the championship that they won in 2015, Klay was their only all-star. And that was the very first season that Draymond Green entered the starting lineup because he was a bench player before that. See, this is the things that people don't talk about. This is how you know I study and watch the games, and some people just ram along and just talk nonsense without really understanding the history. Because people would make you think that Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson are all free agents.
They were drafted. The Warriors drafted their players, and that's why they became the team that they did in 2015. Like you said, Klay became an all-star in 2015. Dre became an all-star in 2016. They didn't become a super team until Durant went there. That's what I'm saying.
Facts. All right, let's keep going into the chat. They just switched teams. Clay Pro says, hold on. Wait, he said Rasheed was fighting coaches and other players, man. Hell no. Rasheed wasn't in his prime at 21. Never said that. Oh, wait, hold on. Damn, I missed a lot more. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Jay says, Clay, you just said they didn't switch teams for rings. They switched for greener pastures, for ring possibilities. T-Mac to even the Rockets is what to you? AI to the Nuggets is what? People forget that. AI was trying to win a ring with Carmelo. T-Mac was trying to win a ring with Yao Ming. They don't talk about that, and they didn't get the job done. T-Mac went to the Rockets for money. That was part of it. He wanted to win a ring. Because remember, people were criticizing him for not being able to get out the first round, which is what they still criticize him for. And the one time he went to the finals, he was with them. Okay. Rasheed was not in his prime. Fighting coaches. Clay, you said 30s. Quit moving the goalposts. He called him Clay Gee. Oh, man. He said Rasheed got kicked off as anything. Anthony L says, I can make a strong case for Kobe being in the top 5. Really? Really? Shaq is given way too much credit for those first 3 championships. I agree with that. That's very true.
I agree.
There were plenty of times to where Kobe carried Shaq in those series leading up to the finals. You know what, Anthony L? I think you may have just inspired me to make another video.
Yes, dude. And I'll join. You should do a live stream to say if Shaq carried Kobe. You should do a live stream for that.
You know what? I may want to do that one.
Hey, you guys, Shaq he gets a lot of credit, but he also gets a lot of credit taken from him for those championships.
That's very true, too.
I'll give an example. I'll give an example. So, when we talk about LeBron James versus the Spurs, and we talk about how people don't give Chris Bosh the credit for getting that rebound and shooting that ball out to Ray Allen. Because had he not done that, game over, right? Well, think about the Sacramento versus the Lakers series. Shaq doesn't tap that ball out to Robert Horry. No cigar, bro.
No, that was actually Vladdy. If you actually watch the replay, it was here's what happened. Kobe was going to the buck. He missed the runner. Then Shaq.
You know what? You're right. Vladdy hit that ball up. Vladdy hit that ball back. You're right. He did. But Vladdy smacked that ball back. But when players do that, it's like, even like now in today's game, when players just hit a ball, it's because they know that they probably can't secure that rebound. So even his presence there, but as I think about it, it was Vlad that hit that ball back, and Robert Horry caught it and drained that shit. But then the presence of Shaq being down there, if Shaq's not down there, then Vlad probably can secure that rebound, and it doesn't go. It doesn't go down that way. Even in other playoff series, like Shaq don't get the credit he deserved. They give him a lot of credit, but he was significant on certain plays, certain games, and this happens with all teams, man. Somebody gets too much credit or somebody doesn't get enough credit. Hell, look at Robert Horry. He saved the day for so many teams and so many playoffs. These teams wouldn't even have won those playoffs had it not been for Robert Horry. But when you go down in the history, it was the stars that got the accolades for those championships. But we know Robert Horry. They don't fucking win.
Big shot,
you know what I mean? And that's so it just kind of happens all around. I think at the end of their career, we can't take. I think at the end of their careers, when you got guys this good, such as Kobe and Shaquille O'Neal, they were a unit. So I don't think you can take or give too much to them. You can't take away too much or give too much to them. They were a unit and they accomplished, bro. You know what I mean? We can go take for tat or who did more, this, that, and the third, but I think they deserve their accolades and where they're supposed to.
To be honest with you, Shaq and Kobe have both acknowledged, number one, that they were idiots. They were immature in how they handle things, but we have to also understand something. Kobe didn't want to be known as a Scottie Pippen to Shaq Jordan at the time that they were together. So Kobe was trying to prove that he was more than that, and he ultimately proved that he was more and that he could be the lead guy on a championship team. With Shaq and Kobe, these guys worked together to win. Their egos, even though it was the ultimate deciding factor in them splitting apart, it was necessary for them in order to prove to one another that they could win without the other. And also, though, those same egos helped them win 3 straight titles. So it gave them ferocity on the court. It made them play together. It made them play hungry. It made them play tougher. It made them focus. So it drove them to win. Not just having Phil, but those egos, and him being able to manage. The thing is that, like I said, they both needed each other. Because if you look at it, Kobe was a mismatch to be able to penetrate. And what I've heard over the years is when Shaq gets a lot of credit, it's look at the double team that Shaq garners in order for Kobe to get the open looks that he does. But what nobody talks about also is nobody understands what Kobe's penetration and penetrating to the basket does for the defense. Because when he starts to draw attention, you get open shooters and you give easy baskets to Shaq. Shaq doesn't even have to post up. Like, he doesn't really have to post up as much. You get those are gimme points right there. If Kobe penetrates, he gets double and he draws the defense. Who's going to put a body on Shaq? Shaq gets an easy dunk in a basket. And it's like, people need to understand that there's many different ways to score a basketball. Shaq will get attention if they double team him in the post, if he has a mismatch. And Kobe will get open looks just like the other shooters. Kobe will get shooters looks when he penetrates, and then the body comes off of Shaq. And Shaq can get himself easy points to where he doesn't have to post up, to where they have to hack him, double team him. And people forget also, Shaq was a very good passer out of the post as well. So if he could find a double,
yeah, that's what I was.
You could expand on that, D. Go ahead.
No, you just stole the words right out of my mouth. That's what I was about to say. That's one of those things where Shaq was robbed of credit, and you just brought it up because he was a very effective passer, and it's sort of almost like vice versa. Because Kobe was so talented and could score from so many places on the floor, Shaq down in the hole is going to require 2 or 3 people. Mm-hmm. And he kicked that ball out to Kobe, easy jumper, easy score. So vice versa, like they fed off of each other, bro. You know what I mean? And he was an underrated passer. Shaq was definitely underrated. You know what else Shaq had that he didn't utilize? But Shaq had handles. Shaq had a little bit of handles. He would get sloppy down there sometimes, but he never really utilized his handles. He was so strong and dominant down there in the hole. He would just muscle guys, back them down and muscle them. But Shaq actually had decent handles to be so big. And sometimes he would utilize those handles to get that ball out. Not to score, but to get that ball out to Kobe, bro. And he was underrated for that shit, bro. I mean, they fed off of each other. Like, they needed each other to win. Here's something y'all think about. What if Shaquille O'Neal would have had a work ethic like Ben Wallace? Man, those Lakers probably would have won about 9 or 10 championships. What if that man had a work ethic like Ben Wallace and stayed in shape and got himself strong and built and still a little sloppy like he was? Man, those Lakers could have won 9 or 10 championships. Because if Shaq was in shape and built like that, man, I think he would have been unstoppable for a long time. It definitely would have extended his career. What
was I going to say? I was going to say something. It just made me think about something with Shaq and Kobe. And, that's right. So the story that you was talking about with Shaq's handles. Here's something a lot of people don't know. Shaq, and the funny thing is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is another player who's talked about this before. He said, both Kareem and Shaq, they've said this multiple times. They said that they actually enjoyed handling the basketball. The thing was, though, what position do they play? Center. What have their coaches? What have coaches told them over the years? They have told them your job when you play defense, you're blocking shots, you're altering shots, you're rebounding the ball, and you're passing it to the point guard. Shaq said when he was in college, like there were times that he wanted to show people that he can do more than just play a back to the basket game, and he had handle. The problem was his coach Dale Brown told him that's not what you're going to do. That's not what your position is going to be played for. What you're going to do is if you get post position, you will play in the post. You will grab rebounds. You will box out. That's what they told these guys. It's the same thing with Kareem. I actually saw Kareem when he used to play in Rucker Park, and he used to play when he was growing up. When I saw a documentary on him, Kareem had very good handle. And it was the same thing was their coaches told them how they were supposed to play. They could have played differently. And it's true. They could have played. We probably could have seen more handle. I remember I looked at the 2000 and the 2001 playoffs. I remember there were many times when I saw Shaq put the ball on the floor like easy, and he was able to bring it up like he was a point guard. Like he was a 7-foot point guard. Just bring it. Like the All-Star game. 1996. Him and Michael Jordan are going one-on-one in practice time. I remember Shaq did a crazy dream shake on Michael Jordan and was able to fake him out in the air. And I said, damn, Shaq is actually more skilled than I thought. But it's like, if you look at his career, they're like, well, Shaq didn't really have skills. But when he put that move on MJ, I'm thinking that Shaq could really put the ball on the floor. It's just he really doesn't get the chance to do that. But he did that in practice. I said, imagine if Shaq was allowed to do that in a real game. Arguably the most unguardable player ever, because you're dealing with a guy who you can't deal with because of his girth. Then you have to deal with his strength, and you have to deal with the fact that he can put the ball on the floor, and he can run the floor without the ball. That's the most dangerous player. Imagine if he was able to learn how to shoot. He'd be the most unguardable ever, because you can't do nothing with him. You can't do nothing. It's like, no matter what I do, I can't guard him posting up. I can't guard him in the mid-range. I can't guard him at the three-point line. I can't guard him on a fast break, whether he has the ball or not, and the fact that he could post up and give you points. And then imagine if he can make free throws. It's like you're dealing with a creative player. You know what I'm saying? That would make it different. So
when Kareem was in college, when Kareem was in college, you guys could go watch some film on it. Bro, it was a time he used to take the ball like coast to coast, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Just go all around guys and everything. You know, you get to the league and that's not gonna happen. But bro, the guy, like, he was super talented. Like, Hakeem Olajuwon wasn't the only big man that can handle. He was probably one of the few that was allowed to do it, but he wasn't the only one that could. I mean, I'm not saying that those guys can handle like he could, but you know, he was just allowed more to do it. But those other guys had the talent to do it, man. Hell, Anthony Davis is another one. He played point guard. He can handle that rock, bro. It's not a strange for these tall guys to be able to handle the rock, because they've all had growth spurts. And we all start off playing basketball. What does everybody want to be? The Michael Jordan. Before Michael Jordan, they wanted to be the Dr. J, the Koozies, and you know what I mean? It's always somebody that you want to be that handles that rock. And all of these guys, as kids, have aspirations to be that. They're not all 7 foot tall, big, and battle people in the middle when they start off. Zion Williamson has good ball handles. He used to play guard. You know what I mean? So a lot of these big guys, they have it, but you got to play your position in team sports. You know, you're not supposed to be handling the ball. The shooting guard, the small forward, the point guard supposed to be handling the ball. You're not supposed to be handling the ball. So you got to play your position. That's how it is. It's team sports.
Just think, you remember his teammate, Ralph Sampson? He was another guy who could put the ball on the floor. He had very good handle for a guy that was 7'4". Very, very, very talented. If it wasn't for his injuries, I know he's in the Hall of Fame now, but he really would have had some beast numbers, man, had he been able to have a healthy career. And he could put the ball, he could put that ball on the floor. He was his own one-man fast break and a terrific mid-range shooter. Like, he definitely could shoot anywhere from 10 to 20 feet. Like, watching him, it was crazy how those guys were able to complement each other. They never got in each other's way because they were able to shoot. They were able to shoot in the mid-range, so that's why they never got in the way of being in the post. That's how talented that both him and Hakeem were.
Yeah. That's what you want to see from Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. Hopefully they can get it together. You know, these two bigger guys, these post guys that are able to, because Kristaps can step back behind the three. He's got decent handles with him, and you know, Luka can do down to everything. But you want to see them complementing each other more, like the Dream and Ralph. You know what I mean?
Right. So let's see. Anthony L says Shaq won Finals MVPs because of the matchups in the finals at his position. The Western Conference Series were much tougher than the NBA Finals. There's a lot of context to that too. I agree with you because I kept telling people all the time, people have kept saying that Shaq has carried Kobe to Finals MVPs. I'm going to tell you right now. So if you guys go to this channel, it's called Lakers Dynasty 42. I don't know if you've heard of that YouTube channel, but I want you to watch the 2001 postseason with Shaq and Kobe. That will debunk any narrative that people will have of people saying that Kobe was carried by Shaq. Just go to that channel, Lakers Dynasty 42, and type in Shaq and Kobe 2001 postseason. They have every single game from game 1 against the Blazers all the way to game 5 against the Philadelphia 76ers. And it will show you how Kobe was literally not carried by Shaq. And if you look at the finals matchups that Shaq had, Rick Smiths, Dale Davis, and what's his face? Sam Perkins.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't Sam Perkins from Dallas. This isn't Sam Perkins from for the Lakers. This isn't Sam Perkins from Seattle. This is Indiana Sam Perkins, 39 years old. That's barbecue chicken for Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
Dikembe Mutombo,
Dog.
great defensive player, but he doesn't have the strength to deal with Shaq. Tom McCulloch, forget about it. Matt Geiger, forget about it. That's barbecue chicken for Shaq. Then you got Aaron Williams, barbecue chicken. Jason Collins, barbecue chicken.
That's jambalaya chicken, yes.
And then you have Tom McCulloch, who was just on the Sixers in 01 with Iverson, and now you go with Jason Kidd with the Nets. What is that? Barbecue chicken. I'm sorry. Okay? People are going to say, oh, well, Kobe went he went against Kerry Kittles and he had Aaron McKee and stuff like that. But people forget, though. Just look at the 2000 postseason. Kobe guarded Scottie Pippen. Kobe guarded Damon Stoudemire. Those are not flukes. Kobe guarded Penny Hardaway, Jason Kidd, Jason Williams. Like, he guarded Reggie Miller in the finals, Jalen Rose. Those aren't scrubs now. Those aren't scrubs. Kobe was at one point guarding 2, 3, sometimes even 4 players during that postseason alone. He guarded multiple people. And you're still asking him to drop 20 plus on the other end? Like, people forget that. Just watch those 2000 playoffs. And then I said, watch 2001 if you go to Laker Dynasty 42. They have a lot of great classics, but definitely watch the 2001 postseason and just study it. And you will clearly see that, and it goes back to what D. Jefferson was saying. It shows you how much they complemented each other and how they were both the mismatch. And the Western Conference at that time was super tough, very tough. The road to the finals for the Lakers were not easy. Go ahead, D.
I got a 4:00 appointment with some donuts and bagels, so I'm getting ready to call it a night, dog.
All right. Man. Take care, my man.
Money looking like, what are you talking about? I do some baking, G-Money, at a coffee shop. So I got to get my ass up in the morning. We open up fresh and early. So, hey, man, always a pleasure, Louis. I seen you go live. I want to jump in here with you.
No doubt.
But I'm going to get in the shower. Bed, bro.
All right, man. You do that, man. Take care of yourself, man. And I'll see you back on the next one. Make sure y'all go subscribe to D. Jeff at Speak Your Mind Sports Talk, man. Make sure y'all do that. And
I ain't going to be here for the end, but live, laugh, love. Peace.
Take care of yourself, my brother. All right. Clay Pro says some players requested trades for financial reasons. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That's true. This is what I'm saying. Steph Curry remained grounded, cultivated the Warriors until they finally won. He deserves more respect than the ring-chasing LeBron. Listen, I said it before. Curry deserves respect, but he does get kind of pampered too, though. He does, in a way, get kind of pampered. And like I said, I cannot put him above LeBron career-wise because, again, LeBron has accomplished much more than Curry has had in his career. And it's like LeBron, from day one, you knew he was going to be great. People didn't know if Curry was going to be great. And remember, his injuries were preventing Curry. They didn't think he was going to have a career. Look, I was one of those people that didn't think Curry was going to have a career after injuries. I didn't think so. He proved people wrong. Like I said, the best thing that happened to the Warriors was him getting that 4-year, $44 million contract. That was the best thing that ever happened. Let me just continue. I can't stand ring chasers. Man, personal opinion. Jay says, Clay, Rasheed on the Pistons is what to you? A champion, a ring chaser, but you can't stand ring chasers. And Rasheed doesn't get enough credit here, which is one. This is Freddie Clay Pro G.
Wait, didn't Rasheed get traded to Detroit?
He was traded from Atlanta because he only spent one day with Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And after Atlanta, he got traded to Detroit. Yeah, so he got traded to Detroit. But originally, the Blazers traded him to the Hawks. He spent one game, and then after one game, he got traded to Detroit. LeBron will be a Golden State Warrior when it's all said and done. Just watch. Oh man,
No way.
I don't see that happening. LeBron knows what kind of backlash he'll get after that. They'll officially call him a ring chaser if he was to do that. If he was to do that, he'll be a ring chaser. Anthony L says Kobe averaged the same amount of points as Shaq in the playoffs leading up to the finals, the season that they went 15-1 in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very close, actually. Shaq was at 30 and Kobe was at 29. People forget that Kobe averaged more than Shaq did before they went to the finals. Kobe's numbers actually dipped in the finals, and that pushed him down to 29.7 compared to 30 for Shaq. But through 3 rounds, Kobe was averaging near 32 points per game in 2001, and he was shooting 49%. And Shaq was actually averaging 30. So Kobe actually outscored Shaq. And the funny thing is, in terms of playoff points, Kobe actually outscored Shaq only by 1 point, but still, like, Kobe was very dominant in those playoffs. Very dominant. You know? Clay says, oh my G, Pistons was not a super team. No, they weren't a super team. No, yeah, we know they're not a super team. Rashid is on your list. Rashid won it out twice. Rashid chased for a ring. Pistons took down the Lakers. Rashid chose right for the ring. Did the Pistons not have 4 All-Stars in the game? Back in 2006, that was when that happened. 2006, they had 4 All-Stars. I don't really remember, but I know they had role players like Tayshaun Prince. He was the only guy that didn't make the All-Star team ever. And a lot of people felt he should have made it. But the thing is, he would have gotten the Kyle Korver treatment. He would have got on just off a narrative. No matter what, they couldn't compare to the Lakers on paper. No, the Lakers on paper were supposed to win. They just didn't get it done. It's true. Papers does not win championships. The Mavs beat the Heat, and the Heat were better on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq and Kobe started fighting that year, and real talk, the Pistons just got lucky when Karl Malone got hurt. It was more than that. There's a lot you could go deep into with that. Let me just finish looking at the comments, and I'll bring up the last question that you can answer, G Money, and it's on Kevin Durant. It happens sometimes. Yep. Wait, hold on. Spurs deserve to be the Heat. What you mean? It's not my narrative. It's your narrative. I corrected your narrative to make it a fact. Tomoko says, if Bruce Lee played basketball with Michael Jordan, who out of 10 games, who would win? Bruce Lee has a lot of great sayings, but it's not going to save him against Michael Jordan. Heat on paper should have won. They lost to the Spurs, changing sides again. My point was that Rashid wasn't chasing rings. Clay Pro may switch more than Freddie Gee. Clay, you have no point. I just explained it, though. Rashid chased the ring like Karl Malone did. Rashid won, though. You didn't explain anything except you switched up on your own narrative to what I or another commented on. All right. Getting on to this last question before I close out the stream, we are talking about Kevin Durant. And here is my question for you, G Money, before I close out the show.
Mm-hmm.
What does Kevin Durant look like coming back from his Achilles injury? Never mind the virus. Let's say that he doesn't have it. With him coming back, what are the expectations for the Nets, and does that make it more difficult for LeBron to win a championship if he comes back? Your thoughts?
In my opinion, KD won't be as explosive as much anymore because even though he can't hit the outside shot, he also does thrive when it comes to transition. Since he hurt his Achilles, he can't jump as much anymore. So they're going to make him more into a jump shooter and a three-point shooter for KD, though. I say this. If KD becomes more efficient from the perimeter after his Achilles, then it's going to make it hard for the Lakers to win. But if he becomes stagnant and does become like himself after the Achilles, then it's going to be easy for the Lakers, though. So I'm just saying that I think KD, if I have to guess what's going to happen, I think KD will still be good after the injury, but we won't see that explosive KD anymore as we saw what happened with Kobe.
I mean, for me, I have to wait and see what KD is going to be come the injury. I've said it many times. If Kevin Durant shows any signs of the KD that I saw in the 2019 NBA playoffs when he was just dominating before that Achilles injury happened, if I see that KD, the entire league is going to be in trouble. The entire league is going to be in trouble, especially if Kyrie comes back and Kyrie just blends in and tries to be a good teammate and not try to be about himself and not be selfish. The biggest thing when I look at the Brooklyn Nets, they have to be better defensively. I've said that before and I'll say it again. They've got players that can play. You got Spencer Dinwiddie. Karis LeVert shows you that he's going to be their third guy.
Harris, Jared Allen. Yeah,
they have players. The key thing is they got to defend at a consistent high level because you got your closer, you got your elite player in KD. You have it. They have a good team. They just have to, like I said, play more consistent defensively. Okay. So I'm gonna go into the questions real quick. So Anthony L says, Louis, do you think had it not been for the injuries of Bynum and Ariza in 2008, would have prevented Kobe from winning a second three-peat instead of a repeat? This is one of those what if questions, and I personally think that we really won't know. What I will say is that Trevor Ariza would have helped in guarding a guy like Paul Pierce or Ray Allen, so that would have been big. I also think that with Andrew Bynum, that would have helped Pau Gasol nullify Kendrick Perkins and Kevin Garnett. I still think Boston wins, though, because they were the better team that year. That's just me personally. So I think that Kobe would have gotten his repeat. But I think that the series possibly would have been a 7-game series instead of 6. And if it does end in 6, I don't believe the Lakers will get blown out like that because, like the Celtics, the Lakers can slow the tempo down too. And they can dump it into Bynum and they can dump it into Gasol. Something that they really can't do with Kendrick Perkins because Perkins is more of an enforcer. Their best post player was Kevin Garnett. So you really can't, he's pretty much, you can post 2 guys with Bynum and Gasol. So that's a difference. And Bynum would have gave them shot blocking too, which is what they need, and rebounding. So I think it would have been tougher for the Celtics to have not won so easy in game 6. But I think that they would have ultimately won, I think, in 7, just because I think that they were the better team. But I think it would have been a much more closer series than what it was before. What do you think, J-Money?
I think Celtics too. They were deeper defensively. They had more depth. Better bench depth with Sam Cassell, P.J. Brown. Who else is there? Eddie House and who else is on that team? I think some Powell. Yeah, so yeah, they just had better depth on their team. So
James Posey.
James Posey, yeah.
Tony Allen's
on that team.
Obviously, you got Ray Allen, you got Sam Cassell as well. Obviously, Pearson Garnett as well. So, obviously there. Jay says maybe, but the Celtics were better. Yeah, I agree. They were just better. Boston did have more depth in the 08 season. Yeah, that's what it is. And the thing is also, I feel like the Lakers, they were not as good defensively in 2008. I feel like they were a better offensive team than defensive team. I think Boston taught the Lakers how to be a better defensive team the next 2 years. As a Laker fan, it's hard for me to say that's as a fan, but they were. Hey, y'all, what's going to happen with this COV thing? It's like the whole just shut down. Well, we were mentioning it earlier. I feel like this is all agenda-based, and hopefully no more stuff. Because what's very strange about this virus is the fact that they've told certain players have it, and they haven't came out with the report on what other players have it. Especially it's very strange that they said 2 Lakers have it, but they haven't mentioned what Laker players have. But with the Brooklyn Nets, they said, "Oh, Kevin Durant's got it. Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, they got it. Christian Wood, he's got it." There are 3 Sixer players that they haven't even mentioned as to who's got the virus, which is very weird. And I also said this: Charles Barkley was sick. He got tested for the virus, and we haven't heard anything. Still,
it's been a week since. It's been a week.
It's been over a week. It's been over a week. That's why I said that something very strange is going on that these guys are not telling us about. So, and like I said, if more players end up getting it, you're going to have to shut this down because you got to think about the health of the players at this point. It sucks as to how hard they've worked, but we got to be realistic and think about human beings because human beings and health come first.
I mean, possible. I don't see Adam Silver shut it down this season. I just don't see it.
They're gonna trust me. They're gonna try, but trust me, if it, like I said, all it takes is one superstar player to get this. KD's not playing. So I'm saying somebody who currently is playing gets it, they have to shut it down. They have to. Because they're tinkering with playing in empty arenas, and some players have already protested on that they don't want to play without the fans. So that's going to be a problem. And I feel like at that point, it's going to have to be a shutdown because the NBA doesn't want to do it for revenue reasons. It's why the owners have said that they don't want Adam Silver to shut down the season yet. This is all money agenda based.
I mean, true, because I also checked an article that if they shut down the season, then it'll be due, and the NBA will lose what, $1 billion, which is crazy.
That's the thing. This is about money. It's not about the players. It's about the money. House came through at the weirdest time too. Yeah. Anthony L says Celtics still have Rasheed Wallace though to replace Perk in 2010. To be honest, the Celtics should have won that series. They
felt away a 13-point lead in Game 7. Yeah.
Too many excuses about Kendrick Perkins not being there. They still had a 13-point lead without Perk. Kobe was shooting like garbage in that game. Pau Gasol didn't shoot great neither. Neither did Paul Pierce, neither did Ray Allen, neither did KG. That was a defensive struggle. Defensive struggle. Does the HIPAA law rules apply to players when it comes to the virus? It's supposed to. But like I said, that's why I feel like it's agenda-based because like you said, Anthony L., the HIPAA rules are supposed to apply. They're just, for some reason, for some of the players, they're not applying to. Like I said, it's agenda-based. Jay says Perk was too big for Bynum and Gasol. I would say big for Gasol. Bynum, I would say maybe slightly big. I'm not going to say like crazy big because Bynum was actually, he was in good shape. I would say Perkins had more weight than those and than both of those guys because Paul Gasol is not good with physicality. He's never really been known. Now, he showed more toughness in 2010, but he's never been known as a guy who is about that muscle. And you have to thank Kobe and Phil. They made him into a mentally tougher player for the championships that he won. He made all NBA teams. He made more all-star teams. And with all due respect to Pau Gasol, he deserves credit for what he did for the Lakers. But it's what I said to people before. Pau Gasol wasn't going to be remembered as a great had he not joined the Los Angeles Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
His playoff career looks better. He has 2 championships on his resume. Now, obviously, Kobe needed him and Pau needed Kobe, so they did it together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Kobe's always said that he doesn't win titles without Pau. He's even said MVPs. It's just, again, the media and, again, fanboys constantly twist what Kobe says and the words that what he's telling people. He will tell people that this award, he wouldn't have won it without those guys. They played together. They busted their ass and they did all. He'll say that. The media will say Kobe was never great to his teammates. And yet you hear Lamar Odom talk good about him. You talk Pau Gasol talk good about him. Shannon Brown talks good about him. Sasha Vujacic talks good about him. Trevor Ariza talks good about him. Jordan Farmar talks good about him. Obviously, Derek Fisher. So if I'm hearing all these players saying good things about him, why is it that people are saying that Kobe's been nothing but a very bad teammate? If he was a bad teammate, that means every player that he's come in contact with would have never liked him.
Mm-hmm.
They would have never liked him.
Mm-hmm.
Every player would have said, "Oh, Kobe was horrible. I couldn't deal with Kobe." Now, Kobe did have those moments in the Shaq Kobe time with the Lakers, and maybe a little bit when Kobe was transitioning without Shaq. But Kobe even said it that it's the closest group that he's ever had when it comes to camaraderie and being able to make friends and being able to have great teammates. Oh, Luke Walton, another guy who talks great about Kobe. So the fact that Kobe wasn't this great teammate as people keep talking about, this is another narrative that people want to bring on him. You know? Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the end of the Louis Sports Network show. I want to thank DJ for coming through, and I want to thank G Money for coming in on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I always appreciate you guys, and you know, again, anything you want to say, G Money, to the public, man, before we close out the show?
You know, just stay healthy, stay safe. You know, just don't be don't stay close to people, and just, you know, wash your hands. Just, you know, drink a lot of fluids and just stay healthy. Don't catch the virus if you can. You know, just avoid it.
That was pretty concise, sound advice, and I agree with G Money sentiments, man. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. Just try to keep yourself social distance apart. I know it's weird when it comes to family, but it's about for safety. Make sure you're taking your precautions, and just make sure to be very precautionary. Try not to be in fear, but just precaution. Make sure you're doing the things that are keeping you healthy. If you're thinking about it way too much, then you're putting yourself in a bad spot to where you most likely might get it. Especially if you're not worrying about putting yourself in contact with people. Like G Money said, man, make sure you wash your hands. Make sure that you clean after yourself really well. I would wash my hands before and after I eat as well, because even the things that you eat, sometimes it depends. You try not to get anything on you, but it happens sometimes. But it's like, remember, because the thing is with these viruses, they can attach to a little bit of things. And the way that these guys survive is they need to feed off of a host, which are cells. That's how viruses get to multiply. They go into cells and they multiply. Without that, they can't survive that long. Viruses, they die like that when they can't survive. So like G Money said, man, make sure you stay safe. Make sure you take care of yourself. I know this quarantine is difficult for a lot of people. Listen, man, it's been born here, I'm sure a lot of you guys are bored and it's been difficult for you guys to go out, but try to keep yourself occupied somehow, some way. I mean, I'm going to continue to bring in these lives for you guys and, come in with these ideas to keep the lives going. Just because things are not great right now in the real world doesn't mean that in the YouTube world, it stops. The grind continues, man. And I'm going to keep coming out with the content, coming out with that fire, coming out with these bangers. You guys just continue to like the videos. You guys continue to subscribe if you're new to the channel. And again, man, make sure you guys share the videos, man, and make sure you guys catch the replay. And like I said, I always want to get people coming on here so that you guys have the ability to get your voices heard. And like I said, G Money, anybody that you know that is a fan of basketball, anybody that you know that is a fan of YouTube, let them know about the channel. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I am more than welcome to get them on here, man. So I would truly appreciate that. But once again, guys, this is another one. G Money, thank you for coming through. Definitely always welcome. Same thing with you guys in the chat. And as always, guys, you already know before I go, wait. Before I go, just got to check these comments real quick. Anthony L says that the Chris Paul trade screws Kobe's chance of winning more championships. David Stern hated on the Lakers hard. Yes, he did. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a fact. Chris Paul lied when he said that everything worked out when he went to the Clippers, but he was lying to you when he said that because he knows he wanted to play with Kobe Bryant, especially because Chris Paul was in his prime. You bring Chris Paul, less likely he gets hurt and Kobe Bryant gets hurt too. We probably would have saw more Kobe. Probably. Jay says CP3 didn't want to go to the Lakers, but did want LA. He wanted to be the star. That was part of it. That was part of it. It was part of it. He did want to be the star, but the thing is also Kobe was going to be slowly transitioning anyway to the exit because we're concerned about his injuries. CP3 was behind the Knicks trade. I know he was also behind with the one where the Clippers traded him to the Rockets. Wouldn't have been nothing CP3 could do about it since he was still under contract. That's the thing. He would have been silly for not wanting to go play with Kobe at the time, especially when he was still fresh off of the 5th ring. Yeah, the Lakers won back-to-back titles. That's the key. CP3 didn't want the Lakers. So, Jay, even when he talked with Kobe, he didn't want the Lakers? That's interesting. People also forget this. Kevin Garnett was also almost a Laker. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how many players could have possibly been Lakers with Kobe Bryant. Kobe would have been winning more rings. It's crazy how he won 5 and he was able to win 2 without Shaq, but I just wonder how many more he could have won had he been with a guy like Kevin Garnett and had he been with a guy like Chris Paul. And then you immediately get Dwight Howard. Yeah, that's been CP3. I mean, yeah, CP3 wants to be the guy, but he has figured out what that's been like. He hasn't been able to win. All right. Well, number to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys. And as always, live, laugh, love. Thank y'all for watching. G Money. Make sure you share the videos and make sure you let others know about the channel, man. And same thing with you guys as well. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Make sure you watch the replay. Have a wonderful night, everybody. And we will be back tomorrow with wrestling. We're talking about the Monday Night Wars with WWE and WCW. And if I happen to come up with another basketball idea, we did talk about the Shaq and Kobe thing. I have a Scottie Pippen video that I'm actually going to come out with, and I think you guys will find this one interesting. So I'm going to cook that one up and possibly go on live tomorrow for that one, man. So I'll probably do a doubleheader. But again, be safe, everybody. Have a wonderful Saturday, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
See you at LBFWN.
Well, Louis Sports Network now.
My fault.
I know the LBFWN. Yeah, I had it one time, but yep, I feel you though. It stuck with me for a while. It took me a while to get that Louis Sports Network thing going too. I feel you, but gotten used to it now. So LSN, Louis Sports Network, man. Deuces, everybody.
You deuces.